talking about this film in particular.
Yeah, so we'll start at the beginning, which is a very worried-looking Natalie Portman in a containment cell, surrounded by the old classic people in biohazard suits.
Yeah.
And they're questioning her what she ate. So you already assume that she's been somewhere she probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And it's our best friend Benedict Wong, who's he turns up in everything now. It's like, if you need the sci-fi guy who's a bit Asian.
Was he in Sunshine?
He was in Sunshine.
Because
he's the guy who kills himself because
Yes.
he messes up.
Yes. Because I was going to say, I bet it's just because of him, but when it came, I was like, it makes me think of Sunshine, this film. I mean, there were elements, but...
Yes, so they start listing people, and she's basically saying that they're all dead. So you know that she's the only survivor of whatever she's been doing to precede her being in this cell.
Yeah.
And then we get a shot of a meteor that flies down to Earth and hits a lighthouse. But this really reminded me of early video production companies. You know, when you rent a video and you'd see like their logo come up. Yeah. Specifically the one that had the lighthouse on it.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure there was one that had a meteor. But yeah, it just reminded me of that because the CGI wasn't very good.
No.
And but that's fine. It doesn't need to be that great. It painted the picture. A meteor hits a lighthouse.
Yes.
It doesn't seem to destroy it, mind you.
I don't even recollect the meteor, in all fairness. All I remember is seeing a lighthouse and then it having light.
Yeah.
Basically shimmering in front of it.
Yeah,
the shimmer.
We'll get to the shimmer.
Mm-hmm.
It's then established that Natalie Portman's name is Lena. Is that correct?
Yeah, and they basically established that she's a teacher, don't they? Because they keep jump cutting, so they've got the interrogation, and then it jump cuts to the lighthouse, back to the interrogation, and then it cuts to her in a classroom.
That's right, yeah.
Explaining like the cell mitosis and division and whatever the hell, it sets up that she's some sort of biology teacher.
I think we might have we. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, and she's talking about tumours and cervical cancer.
Yeah, so
and things that happen in vitro. So yeah,
in vitro. Yeah, so they're talking to. She's talking to her medical students. Sets up that she knows her shit biology wise, and
she's interested in.
But basically they do everything there. She comes out. She's a teacher, and then she's walking down the corridor.
This is where we're introduced to Dan, who asks. I think he asks her to
a barbecue.
It's something on the Saturday, but she says that she's got to paint her bedroom.
Yeah. And it becomes painfully obvious from this exchange that her husband's dead.
Yeah. He pretty much says his memory. Yeah.
No, he roundabout says you've got to move on, and start having fun, and she's like, yeah, I'd rather paint the bedroom, thanks.
So she's kind of making excuses that she doesn't want to go to his party, whatever he's throwing. It becomes obvious that she's just lying basically, and that she's going to take. She's planning to paint her bedroom, which just sounds like a poor excuse.
Yeah, but it's what she's actually going to do.
Yeah, it is actually what she's going to do. And then I noticed that this is where some really annoying music came in.
Yeah. Which
kind of sounded out of place. And I thought that for the rest of the movie. It kind of, I don't know, almost like it was trying to be a little bit Last of Us-y.
Yeah.
And if you got that vibe at all.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It was almost like they were trying to inject some kind of life into the film through the music.
Yeah.
But it just simply wasn't there.
So we get a scene of her sitting home alone, crying on the weekend, and then we get these really cheesy flashbacks.
Of them like cuddling and kissing,
them playing in bed,
tickling,
a needlessly shirtless Oscar Isaac giving her a tickle.
I think that was to try and point out the fact that he got a tattoo. I don't know why. I think they were trying to anchor that down so that later in the film he could be identified by that tattoo. But I think what they did is they kind of cut little bits out that would have made that worthwhile.
I didn't pick up on that.
I think they would. To me, it was too much. They were being a bit too shot localized about it. They were kind of like, look, like identifying marks, just so you know. It's kind of like the old switcheroo, like which one had the eye patch or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's coming. But to me, I did. But at this point I've got the note here. It's 6 minutes, 11 seconds in, and she's doing a paint in the bedroom, and it's obvious that the husband has died from some sort of. He was either in the army and he's died, or he's died of cancer. And I've got the note here. I don't care already. Oh,
I have a note just after this, which is a very weak start.
Yeah, and it really didn't sell me.
I think the thing that annoyed me was she's painting this room, and spoilers for later, it's going to be a little bit, it's a bit of a metaphor because it's a blue room. Yeah. But I thought that's a really nice shade of blue. I quite like the blue. And I was like, you leave that alone.
Yeah,
Put a
it
picture
didn't need to be painted. There was
So-
no. I don't understand what I can understand redecorating, throwing out the pictures in all his old shirts, but painting it's not going to do that much, is it?
Yeah. What does the room What does the colour of the room mean?
Yeah, well,
They painted together. They never had a scene of them painting it together.
no, I mean it wasn't as if that was a huge deal, but it was just so that they could try and portray her. I'm ready to move on now. Here is the final step. This is me moving forward.
Just as she tries to move on, I'm trying to click now.
that was good.
Who walks in, Dan?
Is it her dead husband?
It's her. He walks straight in.
Straight in, up the stairs.
Get that paintbrush off my wall. You bloody idiot.
It took me 2 hours to stipple that fucking effect, you silly fucking cow. I don't know why.
Here you are wrecking my ass again.
So he hasn't got cancer and he's not dead. Shame that.
And I've got a note here which is such a pointless convenience for him to walk in while she's painting the room.
Yeah, because it's lazy. This is why I've got the note at 6 minutes in that I don't care. It's not because I'm already out on like not caring about Portman as an actress or anything.
I should say at this point that doesn't mean that our opinion will continue that way.
No.
But this is the feeling.
This is how I felt going straight into this film. Is that it just didn't fill me with anything because it was incredibly formulaic to this point. The whole starting at the end, which is the middle or the beginning, by using this whole interrogation formula, that pisses me off because there's no suspense. They've just said to me, "You're the only one that survived." So I already know we're at the end of the film. Portman survives. Why should I give a shit? She's going to be fine.
My feeling at this point was, okay, I've seen the trailer. I know it's a sci-fi film. She's going to have gone somewhere where everyone's died. That's going to be the interesting bit.
Yeah.
Why do we have to have a romance section? And that is explained later on. But at this point, the film was like, this just seems shoehorned in to me.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah, this is what. Yeah. Well, I mean the intro, or let's say the first 8 minutes or so we're at now, just seemed very cut and paste.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been anything from any other genre film and it would have fit, and it just didn't hold my attention. I mean, again, it's 8 minutes. It's barely
It was
anything.
the music that did it for me. Didn't seem like the kind of film I was expecting the rest of the film to be. Was summed up by then that I wanted something mysterious and a bit, ethereal, but instead it was just a bit Nickelback.
It was just a bit ham-fisted, and I think it's such a crap turnaround. It's the equivalent of "It's All a Dream." Is the whole oh my god he's there, he's not dead. So all right, so what's wrong with him then? Because obviously something's going to be wrong with him now. When has a soldier ever come back from war and be like, hey baby, let's put the griddle on and have some good times? It doesn't fucking happen. So obviously he comes in and he's traumatised up the wazoo.
Yeah, so he's it cuts to a little bit later and he's just sitting at a table staring at a glass of water. He's very still and he's not moving. So you can tell you can tell by the expression on her face he's not the person that he was when he went away.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he walks in, you can tell that because she throws her arms around him and he just doesn't emote. He just stands there solid as a brick. And I'm not saying bad acting. I'm saying he's obvious. He's meant to not be emotive.
I did think at that point that he wasn't going to be real and it was going to be someone else. And she she
was just hugging the broom,
just hugging the rake.
The cat's clawing her face. Mr. Cuddles. That would have been good. But yeah, no, he's completely out of sorts. And he's just blank as anything, isn't he? He's just sort of sitting there. So he doesn't remember a goddamn thing.
Yeah, so she starts throwing questions at him. So she asks him what unit he was in. So he was in the army.
Yeah, and he was it an undercover was
operation? It a secret or
yeah.
And he basically says it was a secret unit, so he can't tell anything about it.
Yeah, but also that he doesn't remember.
Yeah, she goes, was it covert? And he goes,
And how did you get back? I don't know.
Yeah.
And how did you get in? I don't know. What do you remember? I remember seeing you. So he doesn't even remember, and you see the shot of him walking up the stairs.
Yeah.
So he says he doesn't even remember walking up the stairs to get there, and we saw that. All he remembers is standing there and her hugging him. That's the second he comes online.
Yeah, remembers the wall and the paint.
Yeah, that's what set it off. It was a Dulux moment.
And then he takes a sip of water, and he says he doesn't feel very well.
Yeah, and then
there's blood in the glass.
A little shot of blood forming in the glass. Yeah.
And then he just starts coughing it up, and then I think the next scene is
well, they're on the way to the hospital.
Yeah, they're in the ambulance.
They're in the ambulance, and they're en route there, and then some police cars pull out alongside them.
Basically take them both away separately.
Yeah, bundle them out, nick them.
Yeah, and there was a bit I missed here. Did they knock her out? Oh no, they give her drugs, don't they?
Yeah, they sedate her.
Sedate, yeah. And then it cuts Area X, next chapter.
You get the title, yeah.
And then she's in bed in one of these sort of futuristic-looking containment cells with glass perspex walls and white. And she's wearing like a red jumpsuit with like scrubs over the top.
Yeah, so it's like a prison uniform.
Yeah, and I thought, I always think when this kind of thing happens, do they have people ready to just dress other people?
Well, of course they do, yeah.
There's always some pervy man.
That is the costume department.
Yeah. I'll give Natalie Portman a dressing.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, there's one bit I quite liked in this, which was, and because I've been watching a lot of Altered Carbon, where every 5 seconds someone gets knocked out, and then they just wake up again, they're fine.
Yeah.
But she wakes up and throws up because she's woozy from the drugs. I quite like that. She just
that was the yeah.
She didn't get up and she was completely coherent. She was like, yeah. I quite like that. Yeah, people getting knocked out constantly for scene transitions is a real problem of mine because it happens way too often.
Yeah, and it's kind of just horseshit as well because it's like you say, they'll get knocked out in one place and wake up completely reclothed or otherwise in a different time zone,
ready to go.
Fully aware of their surroundings and not at all confused.
I don't know if you've ever been knocked out. It's not a fun experience. When I was little, I fell off my bike and went into the front of a van, which had bull bars on it, and I knocked myself out for a few minutes, and I had to go to hospital.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they gave me some. They made me be sick for some reason. It's very odd. They gave me that EpiCap stuff.
Yeah,
and I had to be sick in one of them paper hats. Like a top hat. But yeah, and then I had to have a brain scan.
Nice.
But she doesn't have to do this because she throws up in the sink.
Good for her.
And then enter Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
And I love Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's always fantastic.
It was probably at this point I went, all right, I'll give it another 10 minutes. Just let's bear with it then if she's in it, because the last thing I saw her in was Hateful Eight.
Yeah,
I think.
And she's brilliant at just pulling a face, and you know exactly what she's thinking. She's very malevolent. She's.
I don't know what to say. She's a good. I always call it emotive acting.
Yeah.
When it's facial acting or whatever you want to call it. They don't need to be like Nick Cage in it and waving arms around like but if they can just portray mild disgust or whatever, it's the finer emotions I like.
And she's great at that.
She's brilliant. Yeah. She's really good at it. And she turns up to fill Portman in on the details of almost absolutely nothing.
Yeah, she just starts throwing questions basically.
She won't tell us shit, will she? Because she I think she asks every single question under the sun. Like, did he eat anything? What did he do? Did he say this? Did he look over there? Has he crossed the road? Has he ever held a chicken? She fires all these questions at her, and then kind of half refuses to tell Natalie Portman's character anything.
Yeah, so there's a bit of exposition about her character where she says that she served in the military for 7 years.
Yeah. And this is Portman's character.
Yeah, Portman's character, Lena, and explaining her research. Then she asks for a lawyer, and she's like, "You're not going to get a lawyer."
Yeah.
And then she wants to see her husband. Then she explains that he's extremely ill and can't be seen. Mm-hmm. But Natalie Portman thinks that she can help him regardless.
Yes, because she is obviously at this point. So now we've been shoehorned in. She's ex-military with biology or medical science knowledge as well. Science, bitch. So we've got more thrown on her now.
Where's my husband?
You served in the military for 7 years.
I'm a professor from Johns Hopkins. I want to know what the fuck I'm doing here.
Your research area is the genetically programmed life cycle of a cell.
Where is my husband?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about Sergeant Kane. When did he arrive back home?
So the microphone just fell down.
That was fun.
Yeah, so after that scene, she wanders onto the roof, and this is where she sees the massive glowing forest.
Yeah. Which
reminded me of, do you remember the, I think it's the Outer Limits, where it goes up towards like a big old, like a cathedral building, and it sort of melts and kind of bends, a bit like that bloke's face in the X-Files opening. What I'm trying to say is it reminds me of a 90s TV show opening a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot like Ghostbusters 2 with the purple slime.
Yeah, it's for me, it's in between the purple slime from Ghostbusters and any portal. So basically like the Stargate portal, or what have you got, Event Horizon, anything that's got where they, or the Matrix, where with the mirror, whatever, wherever they touch a liquid-like surface.
It's a bit watery, isn't it?
It's a bit watery. Yeah.
But yeah, so she's looking out from this complex where they are, and we see this forest where it's just engulfed in this basically sphere of gloop, I suppose. Well, the shimmer, as they call it.
Well, that's right. So before that's the technical term they use for it. But before it's been revealed, that's my note. I've got it's a veil of a shimmering curtain that looks a bit like a jellyfish has been stretched out.
From now on, we shall refer to it as entering the jellyfish.
Entering the jellyfish.
Entering the jellyfish.
Nice.
So then it's the next scene is them two in the office, and they're having they're discussing basically what it is. Yeah.
And at this point, so who is it?
It's Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, who is called Dr. Ventress.
And she's explaining to Lena, or Natalie Portman, that they've sent in animals, people, robots. You know, like they've tried everything,
and nothing comes out.
Nothing comes out. Yeah, nothing's returned.
They don't know what it is. They don't know whether it's a religious event, extraterrestrial, or a higher dimension. They have many theories, but few facts.
Well, no facts.
No facts. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, they're basically just discussing that this thing is growing, whatever it is, and they still haven't got a clue. Is getting bigger.
Yeah.
So basically, the purpose of Area X, or the inhabitants thereof, they're another band of scientists that are trying to figure it out and see what they can do.
And they're keeping it a secret. They're covering it up as under the pretext of a chemical spill.
Yeah.
But it becomes apparent that Kane, who is Lena's husband, came back from the big jelly forest.
Jelly forest, yeah.
I think this is where it becomes apparent that he's in fact dying. Whatever he's brought back with him is slowly killing him.
Yes, yeah. So they basically say he's out of everything, and they renege straight away. So we sent loads of things out there, and nothing came back apart from your husband, who is full of alien whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, so they're saying, that we let somehow the most contagious, potentially man in the world, waltz right back into your house, and we don't know fucking how he got there.
And up the stairs.
Yeah. But then there's some weird scene here where because they keep doing this, which again kept drawing me out. They keep back-cutting or
so it's them
flashbacking to her and her husband having great fun times. Or
it's always in the bed.
Well, yeah,
it's always
they make
sexy,
a huge point.
It's always a bit of sexy bedtime.
It's because it's one scene strung over the whole film. That's why.
So she's describing some cells to him in bed, which was a bit expositional to kind of set up her character.
Well, yeah, and also to further the plot of what's happening now, which is a bit formulaic. Because it's like, oh, so you just happen to be talking about the exact cell structure of the alien thing, obviously it's not that direct, but they basically discuss how you could be immortal, but it's down to a flaw within your DNA, or your cell is flawed. And it kind of made me start thinking about the Godzilla one again.
Yeah.
Whereas they were saying that basically your cells, or your human cells, can only regenerate a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
So that once that is happening, that's why you get older, that's why you die, and that's it. But if you didn't decay, if these cells didn't decay, then theoretically, you'd be immortal in a way. Humans wouldn't die if it wasn't for this defect within our genes. So that's a needless bit of backchat banter from them.
Well, it kind of, it is a bit talky to the camera, like, you should pay attention to this because it's going to become relevant later.
Yeah.
But then we do get a bit where he gives her a bit of a tickle.
Yeah,
but I did think to myself, is he really tickling her? Because he seemed like genuine laughter.
Yeah, he might.
That was quite nice.
That might have been the only real moment in the film. But no, I nearly threw up.
I threw up a little.
Yeah.
But he's explained to her that he's
off.
He's going somewhere, but he can't tell her where.
He can't tell her.
It's a big secret.
Yeah, and because it's all comes to the head of this cheesy scene, because he's like, I can't tell you where it is, but I can tell you we're under the same hemisphere.
Yeah.
And she's like, and he's like, well, it means that if I look up at the stars, and she interrupts him, and she's like, fuck off. That was the only bit I liked.
It was a bit of a human catch, like, why did you think I'd be sitting here waiting, thinking about you?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just outside looking at the stars. Like, oh, where is he? And this is where we get the tickle fight.
Yeah, then comes the tickle fight.
Yeah.
The best scene.
And then we're straight back onto another back to Area X.
We're not back to the future. We're not back to the present. We're back to the not so far back in the past.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's neither current or Oh god, it's all past. It's all flashbacks, isn't it? Apart from the interrogation scenes.
So I've marked it down. We're 20 minutes in now.
Shit.
And she's on the balcony again. She's having a nice cup of tea. I think it's a cup of tea. It looked like a cup of tea, but it seems to disappear quite quickly. And this is where one of the soon-to-be introduced squad members, Anya, turns up, and she's like your standard. She's the hard-ass military woman, bit Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah,
would be typecast to be in that role. Mm-hmm. And she takes her over to a table of people all having a beer, who are all women. And so we're introduced to Cassie, who's played by...
Oh god, where's she gone? I can't even see. Cassie is Shepherd, so that's Tuva.
Tuva Novotny. Yeah, we should have practiced that name.
Well, we're never going to get it right unless we get Google to go Tuva Novotny.
I can get this one right. We have Josie, who's played by Tessa Thompson, who you'll recognise from Thor, and I think she was the girl in Creed.
Oh, yeah.
I believe she was,
Yes, maybe. I know she was in, I recognise her from Thor.
Yeah, and we know she's clever in this film because she's got the glasses.
Yep, she's got glasses.
She's got glasses and she's thoughtful.
She's going to be the go-to girl for any information.
Yes. And
so it's those three. So Anya's taken her over to meet Shepherd and Josie.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Who are all sat around just having a bit of a chinwag.
Yeah, they're all having a beer and a bit of a chat.
So we've got... so
it's the three of them sitting around talking, and they explain that they're all going into the Shimmer in 6 days, and they're all women scientists. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. No. I think Josie is another biologist or botanist. Anya was actually a medic. She said she was a medic. Paramedics.
Yeah.
And I don't know how became drafted in. Shepherd, I don't think you actually really get a rundown. Was she? No, I don't think even they said she was military or anything.
They
might have done, because there's a scene where they're in. She's in a boat with Lena and they're talking about.
Yeah, they're talking about. That's more like a personal reason for being there rather than.
I don't think they really fully set up her background.
They might be. I'm not putting in a fact check for that because I'm not too interested.
No, who cares? She's the third woman.
She's the third woman
with voice and talking abilities.
And so after this, she goes to see Kane, her husband, and the guard is just asleep. There's a guy in a radiation suit asleep at the door, who's I assume is meant to be the guard.
Yeah.
I don't think I could fall asleep in a radiation suit.
You'd be too hot.
I'd get way too hot, yeah. And I sleep without a top on anyway, so it would be too itchy for me, too chaffy.
I can't do a sleeping bag, mate. I've got to unzip that and use it duvet style. Even when you're camping and out in the wilderness, I can't be restricted.
Well, this guy's gone full Homer Simpson, so
yeah,
it's clearly not the job for you if it ever comes up.
Well, I did like the fact that she obviously, minus biohazard suit, lets herself into the containment area where he is in several plastic containment tents surrounded by biohazard.
Yeah. He's a full ET style.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, she goes over to him and she says to him that she knows why he went in, and she apologises, but she knows what she's got to do, Dan.
Yes.
She knows, but we don't know.
Well, we do. She's going in.
And I've got a note here that's dialogue that no one would actually say.
Yeah,
unless they wanted to add mystery to no one around them.
To nobody, because that benefits no one.
And I don't want to I don't want to feel like I'm ragging on the film right from the get-go, but that is what I felt when I watched it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I've got the note here. She enters the clearly restricted area to touch up her husband, because that's basically what she does. She just goes in, fondles him a bit, and goes, I'm going to go in. It was a pointless scene. I mean, they could have done the same effect where he was just in the bed, she was stood to the side of the glass, and just sort of says it to herself there. That would have been a lot easier, but clearly is pointless. Because it doesn't offer to further anything. We already know at this point she's going in, because the whole scene beforehand with her meeting the women, they're all talking about how, what their reasons are for going in or whatever, and in a roundabout way they basically say to her, how could you go home? After seeing this, after knowing this exists, why would you even go home?
You know what would have been a good plot twist if she went, I'm fucking going in there, and the whole film was her sitting at home going, I wonder what was in there.
Watching Netflix.
Yeah, she's like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we wouldn't have continued to watch that.
The most disappointing movie ever.
But that's good. I mean, that is more like an episode of Black Mirror that you could probably see.
Yeah.
Because that would just be Brooker fucking with you, and that'd be fine.
The Brooker fucker.
Yeah,
and just ignoring the obvious plot arc, whatever you want to call it.
Potholes.
So yeah, we go back now to Dr. Ventress.
Yeah.
And she's basically telling her that she's going into the shim with them.
Yeah.
And that she kind of profiles us. She talks about her own job, which is that she profiles volunteers and picks teams.
Yes.
And now she's just been studying it for so long, she's curious about what's inside. So
she
she
just kind of has to know. She's been involved for that long. She's got to satisfy her own curiosity now.
Yeah.
And she's basically saying to maybe that's the part then where she is saying to Parkman, how could you go home then? Like, why don't you want to know what's in there? Because I should do.
Yeah, it's one of these scenes. Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, as soon as they're doing that, it cuts right back to Benedict Wong again.
Yep.
And we're being interrogated again. More questions. I don't know what's this.
I think this is where he asks her why she went in, and she says because she owed him.
That's it. I've got she owes her husband is the note I've got.
Yeah.
So yeah, she feels like she owes some sort of duty to her husband to force herself to go into the jellyfish den.
And so at the 30 minutes mark, which is where we are now, this is where we see the scene of them all they're in the long grass. They're approaching the shimmer.
Yeah.
And they've all got the big massive backpacks on, which I quite like the design of the backpack. And the nice little yellow tent. It was quite aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Yeah, it was. But again, this is another very formulaic scene. I can't remember if you actually saw them do the whole put in the fingers.
No, they just walked straight in.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they just.
Thank
she
God
didn't
for
even.
that,
She didn't even. She barely looked. She was like, oh.
Yeah, boing.
I guess she didn't know where the CGI was going to land.
Yeah, well, they didn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, she just plonders in. See, what I would have done I would have given it a smell. You can tell a lot by a smell. It's like it's a bit eggy.
Give it a little lick.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, again, and people, I would probably hold my nose and stuff. I would probably cover the holes in my face before I walk through this semi-liquid thing. I don't know.
But the thing is, back at the base, they're all wearing the radiation suits because whatever's come out of there is toxic. Why don't they go in wearing the radiation suits?
Well, the thing is, I think it's technically they don't know whether anything. The whole point is they've got zero information on it, so they don't really know that it's toxic. So they're just being precautionary.
Lots of theories, zero facts.
Yes, exactly. That's what they should have called it, zero fact, or something like that. But anyway,
but at this point, I did think to myself that Natalie Portman don't look strong enough to, because she's quite thin. And I thought that's a big backpack for her.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a plot point later that it probably won't matter that backpack's big because it's a bit symbolic.
But also then there is a completely pointless sex scene that keeps getting cut.
Oh yeah, I've got this, and then we get the shimmer.
Yeah.
That's the next bit. And then I've actually put another boring sex scene.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
brief.
Yeah. Because it isn't even a sex scene, it's just a 2-second clip of Portman riding her husband or whatever, yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. It might not be her husband.
Yes, exactly. So, and then we get Lena, Natalie Portman's character. She wakes up in her tent, and she's all bewildered. She seems to be like she's away from all the others. But
yeah, I something for that struck out for me, and I think again it's another stupid symbolism thing they tend to do in films where it's like, well, it's obviously the only survivor. You know, it's kind of they're trying to subconsciously distance you from her team, to prepare you for that eventuality. And I've noticed this. It happens a lot in films. They will outright tell you who's going to die and who's not by doing these very subtle separation tactics. You know, like you two go together and I'll go with it. Right, they're dead.
Yeah,
it always prepares you for every time they keep getting broken up or separated. You know those extraneous characters are. And
it sets her up obviously as being a bit of an outsider. They've all got a bit of a clique, and she's on the outside.
But also, if you had noticed how neatly trampled all the grass was in front of
yes, I've got another point here, which the forest looks awfully artificial.
And
in some scenes, I couldn't tell if the grass was CGI or it was because it was clearly a set.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes the grass would be out of focus. I don't know if that was just how the camera was or whether that was on purpose because maybe it was a 3D render in some scenes, but it didn't look very good, so they thought we'll just blur it out. I
don't think there was actually that much CG in that film, apart from the obvious areas later in. But
yeah,
in terms of the static scenes, you know, where there's nothing going on, there's no CG animals or whatever. It is just the woodlands. I don't think they've done too much. They will have messed around because as soon as we go in here, we've got. She gets out the tent and doesn't know what's going on. Yada yada. We'll come back to that. But the swamp and the surrounding flora doesn't match. It looks like a rainforest. Yeah. This is not somewhere on the coast of America, which Maine or wherever the hell it is.
Yeah, I do think that they keep walking to different places, and it's like, are you walking? How long are these guys walking for?
Yeah, I mean they're going through completely ridiculous areas. There's things there that wouldn't be in the same area, like tropical plants and stuff.
Well, that is a plot point.
I mean, I guess it is, but at this point in the film, they're not doing it in the right way. It doesn't look alien or otherworldly. It looks like they've got someone sloppy to handle the plants. You know, who doesn't know? They've got to put a Christmas tree next to a fucking lily or whatever. Going, no, they grow in the same sort of temperatures. It's fine.
They're all plants.
They're all
Found them all on Google Images.
Yeah, exactly. So aside from that, she's coming out of the tent and she's very groggy and can't recall anything.
Yeah, so she walks around the corner and actually finds everyone else there, and they're all saying that they can't really remember getting there, putting up the tents, and from their food depletion, they've probably been there for around about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, but can't remember anything.
Can't remember anything, so 3 or 4 days have passed where we don't know what's happened. The radios don't work, and the compass is going mental, which again, that is a bit of a cliche. The whole compass spinning. I think they stole that from the X-Files.
Well, oh god, I mean that's one of the oldest gags in the book, isn't it?
But this raised another thing which annoys me when people get lost in woods. And obviously the compass is spinning, we don't know which direction to go. Climb a tree. Get to the highest tree, climb it. You can see everything. You'll know exactly where you're going. But
well, there's 1,001. I mean, there's what they settle on this one is let's navigate by the sun. And try and figure out where the shadows are cast and which way south is by where it's set in.
I think it's explained then that there've been 3 years worth of expeditions trying to go into the Gloopy Woods. And I've got a note here that at this point I'm not convinced, but I am intrigued. Because I quite like a film that's a bit of a puzzle. Like there's a film called Triangle, I don't know if you've ever seen it, which is all set on a ship where they keep going. They basically get stuck in the Bermuda Triangle.
It's Groundhog Day as well, isn't
it?
Yeah.
So everyone dies, but then she goes to signal the boat for help, and it's them arriving on their boat. And it's like, that's really good. I quite like films like that, and this kind of seemed like it could go that way.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, it's a bit...
Maybe something's going to happen.
It's a bit clumsily done so far, but the payoff might be worth it.
Yeah. Because that's what I mean. It does at this point feel like, because they're talking about time dilation or whatever, that maybe that's a huge plot point is that she's going to run into her husband while she's in there, even though he's back. So anything can happen at this point. It would have been really cool.
You don't remember setting up camp, do you?
I don't remember anything. After we reached the tree line, none of us do.
But they decide to get a move on then, basically, don't they? And head further in.
This is where they find the house that's sinking in the swamp.
Yeah, and I quite so coming into this scene, I quite liked it. Because,
I liked it.
Okay, so you've got all right. So like I said before, the plant diversity was a bit too. It didn't make sense, but now it does because what they're showing you is that you've got like whatever they basically got about 6 different varieties of white plant. So they've got like snapdragons and all sorts of shit and poppies or whatever, but she was saying that they're not separate plants, they're all coming from the same stalk.
They're all
one plant, but with
they're all different plants blooming on the same vine kind of thing.
So what she's selling is the fact that there's basically mass mutation on a scale of it's coming from one simple place, but you're getting a huge diversity,
which should be impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
DNA can't cross and behave that way.
Yeah, and it did look nice. I mean, like the colours and stuff, and the actual little shack or whatever looked cool.
And then there's one line of dialogue which which I actually laughed a little bit at, where she looks at them and goes, "This is very strange." Yeah. And I think you're in a massive jelly woods.
Like, no
that's
shit.
Strange. That's probably quite normal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would have gone for, ain't that cool? But yeah, it's a bit obvious, and they decide to go into the ramshackle shack.
Yeah, I think it's Josie who goes in, and the rest are outside looking at boats. There's some boats that are at the side.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
And she basically clears the area.
Anya's basically she says she's found a boat. She's like, "Oh, I found a mode of transportation." And as she's saying that, Josie comes out of the shack and says, "Oh, there's nothing here," and then does the old whoop, and he's pulled
straight back. Yeah, I quite like that. I didn't expect that
off camera. No, I mean you didn't. But then they all run in after her, don't they?
Yeah, and because the house is sunk half of the house is at an angle and it's all in water. Yeah. And she's thrashing around.
Yeah.
And I think she loses her bag at this point. But
she keeps saying, "Something's got my bag."
Something's got my bag, yeah.
Yeah.
And
take your bag off then.
Yeah. And they all manage to drag her out.
Yeah, somehow they managed to. I mean, well, they all do the dumb thing of wading straight the fuck into the water where mystery creature is, and somehow ragging her out of there, and they manage to get out, pull her back, sort of past the shore, and then
they're all on the shoreline. But I quite like this that usually you'd be like, oh, I'm not going to see what that was for about an hour.
Oh no! Straight away.
You just hear a bang, and then it's like a mutated alligator runs up the shoreline.
Yeah, which is exactly what I thought it would be. I wasn't at any point thinking, oh, it's going to be some mystery alien thing. I was like, oh, it's going to be a fucking alligator or something, isn't it? Because they're on a swamp. Let's face it. I've seen Lake Placid. I know what it's all about.
It's about. I think there's quite a few sequels to that film.
I know
it just kept on going.
I know there's at least a sequel, which I'll never watch. The first one was enjoyable.
I liked it at the time. It was hot on the heels of It was like Deep Blue Sea.
It was a really good. It was in my eyes, it's a full out comedy. It just is.
I don't remember it. I just remember at the end, the reason it keeps coming back is because the old woman's feeding it meat or something.
And that's was it Betty White?
Is it Betty White?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's got a great line. She's obviously one of the characters they get in if they need an old woman who's going to swear.
Yes. Yeah.
For you to be shocked, because I'm sure someone says to her, "Oh, you need to evacuate your house or whatever." She goes, oh, okay, well, you can just go and fuck yourself. It's like, whoa!
Way to go, Betty!
I love this bitch. But yeah, sadly it wasn't Betty White. It was a crocodile.
It was a milky looking crocodile who storms the beach and they open fire.
And they empty a few clips into its face.
Yeah, one gun jams, of course.
Yeah.
But this is where we get the stance of Natalie Portman. You'll probably seen in the trailer where she's opening fire and she's a bit military.
Yeah,
she takes
serious.
it down. Yeah.
And she kills it, and then again, because that's what you see in a lot of the clips, is her with her head in the mouth of a crocodile. A lot of the thumbnails I saw going into it is just basically someone doing that. The shot from inside the mouth and her looking down.
So we get the shot from inside the crocodile's mouth, and it's basically got shark teeth. So it's mutated like the plants to become something it shouldn't.
Yeah. So all they say is it's got 2 rows of teeth, and then someone says something like, "Well, can it not have mated with a shark?" And then Portman shuts that down with, "No, you dickhead." that doesn't happen.
That's a paraphrase, I think.
Yeah. No, that was an exact quote.
But then we get a flash forward back to Benedict Wong.
Yeah, another interrogation where she's explaining how confusing it was and how it was like a nightmare, but it was beautiful, and that they were all like unsure of what they actually saw.
That's right. Yeah.
No, she says she can't really tell you what she actually saw or what she thought she saw, and that it wasn't. She was saying she wasn't scared the entire time because parts of it were nice.
Yeah, she says she explains that the mutations were subtle. Sorry, but as they got closer to the lighthouse,
they got stronger.
Yeah, and she saw duplicates that looked like ghosts.
Ooh.
But not hallucinations, but it was shared by all the people. Oh. That's why he says it was like a dream but beautiful.
Okay, I don't recall that. But that cuts again, straight cut into them paddling down the stream.
They're in the canoes, yeah.
And this is the scene where Shepard, isn't it? Shepard and Lena are having a bit of a chat about stuff. And this was at a point where because obviously we can talk about the story there, but this is where I was looking at the trees and went, right, now the effects look crap. Because it started to look like, obviously what they're doing is they're putting in these technicoloured fungus look things on the trees and that, and it looked just like if you ever got one of these for Christmas or your birthday. It was like a grow your own crystal kit, and it was like a crap bit.
No, I had good birthdays.
Yeah, you did. Well, basically, it was like a crap cardboard tree. Yeah, and it's basically salt crystals or something. Crystals,
oh right.
And you pour this mixture over it, and after a while, it goes off, and you get these crystals forming it, and it's pretty crap. And it looks like that's what they've done. It literally looks like they've make your own crystal mould on it, and wrapped a bit of wool around them sometimes.
Practical effects, I'm all for. So if that's what they did, I'm all for that.
No, I'm all for that, but
bring back that as a treat. Kids now get iPhones.
Yeah,
I had silverfish. You had shit chemical trees.
I loved my shit chemical trees.
I love my silverfish. They all bred and they were meant to be sterilised. I had them for years.
Nice.
I ended up flushing them down the toilet.
Oh. Well, that's a nicer side. But so anyway, they're paddling down the stream, having a bit of a chat, and she says something.
So this is
that's it. It's sorry, I couldn't understand my note there. but they actually paddle past the same tree 8 times.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a bit of an over-exaggeration. But you keep seeing the same shot. This is why I noticed how much it looked like the Grow Your Own Crystal crap, because I kept seeing it over her right shoulder. And it was like, no matter what, they're travelling forward. That shouldn't be there. They should have been somewhere else.
There was a bit something weird that was going on with the paddling, because I noticed that for some reason I was paying way too much attention to the paddling. I was thinking that looks like proper paddling. Well, she's got the arm movement right, but I thought it doesn't actually look like she's moving. But I'm sure she is. But I don't know, something just looked a bit weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I actually found that bit quite nice in a way, because I love boats and being on the water and stuff, and to actually watch them paddling, it relaxed me quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I know, it was. I could have watched
a really
that for quite a
soothing
while, yeah.
moment. I was kind of like, oh, okay. Because they weren't like thrashing, like...
No, they were doing it,
They
they were doing it properly,
really
and
slowly,
one and the other, yeah. So I quite like that. But this is where they're having a bit of a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
She asks her where she met her husband, and she says in the army, and that he was KIA.
Yeah.
But then a little bit of exposition here from Shepard, where she basically says everyone here is here because they've got issues.
Yeah.
And she explains that Josie wears long sleeve tops because she's got scars on her arms. Yeah. I think who's the other one? Not Josie. Anya. I think she's meant to be an alcoholic. Or she drinks too much.
Yeah, probably. Well, I think she's got anger issues as well.
Yeah. She got a lot wrong with her, that girl.
Yeah.
And that Shepard herself lost her daughter, so they're all kind of running away from something.
Basically, again, it's setting up the ragtag band of misfits with nothing to lose at this point, kind of.
They're all broken in their own way.
Yeah. But this is a point where actually twice now.
Not the same tree again.
No, but twice now Lena has admitted the fact that her husband is both alive and in the base.
Yeah.
So she chose not to tell them when she met them all when they first started, and now because Shepard has noticed the locket that Lena is keeping around her neck with her husband's picture in it.
Oh,
obviously she can't see that.
I think she says,
closed, but she wants to know. She says, "Is it a kid or is it a husband
or child or something like that?"
That's it, and she says it's dead husband basically. Yeah. But then they're paddling along the way, and then they find the. Oh, hold on! They come across the base. It's
Fort Amaya. It used to be the headquarters for the Southern Reach.
No,
I wrote that down.
Right, and what was that? Were they saying that's where they used to be before it expanded?
I guess so. That must have been their previous HQ, and then they've been pushed back and back and back.
Yeah.
And then we get a shot of a mutation on the wall, which I thought clearly looked like a map of the world. It's like all this fungus and it's all different colours, and it looks quite nice.
Okay. I guess I didn't see the shape of it, but yeah, no.
You see it like once or twice in the whole landscape shot, and then mostly close up. But I thought, that looks like a shot of the world. Maybe it's planning to take over the world. That's what I thought.
I might go back and look at that then. But no, I mean, I did notice. Yeah, the base is covered with these mutations, and again, they're somewhere between root systems and fungi and plant-ish. I mean, they look very plant-like. It's not like you've got ears growing out of it or anything.
No, because at this point I was thinking, is it trying to be a bit Last of Us? Because just the fungus and like mutations and things. And...
Yeah, exactly, and that's whether it was trying to set up that was its method of communication, well, not communication, but procreation, or whatever, it was a sporous entity, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
and at this point, my thought process was, because they spoke a lot about the DNA splitting and, combining and mutating, I thought, is there a plot point to them all being women?
Like they're going to be...
Have they been drawn in for the purpose that... Or maybe because, like, reproductive organs or something, is it... It's actually drawn them together... for a reason. That's where I thought at this point it might go. It might still go. We'll find out.
Well, I mean, you could have found out that it was. Yeah, it's basically that either they are going to be unsusceptible to the virus because they are women, or they are needed for that point.
I thought it would be a plot point.
This used to be the headquarters of the Southern Reach before the Shimmer swallowed it. More mutations.
They're everywhere. Malignant.
But they go inside and start searching the base, and immediately are basically greeted by.
Well, they go into the mess hall, aren't they? They find the remnants of the people who used to be there. And the big machine gun. The big machine gun that
has the mount on it that basically means it rests on the floor or a surface.
Yeah, and she
picks it up and goes, "Oh, it's heavy." Put it down. It's a fucking Gatling gun, you twat. Put it down. But yeah, that was quite nice because again, it sets up her character. You know, oh, she's the gun toter.
She's the burly one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But a little bit dopey, maybe.
But yes, for a qualified
Paramedic.
Yeah,
that's what you're trying to think
that's
of.
That's what I was trying to say. But anyway, they basically find a little Ziploc bag.
There's a bit before that where they find all the soldiers' names on the wall, and they're all crossed out apart from Kane.
Yeah,
I think. Oh, is he crossed? No, I think they're all crossed out. So you assume that. Well, obviously he can't be crossed out because we know he's alive. So yeah, he's basically his squad has died.
Yeah, and I mean I've no great. I mean, even if you didn't pick up on that, it really wouldn't matter because the next bit is they find this little bag that's got a SD card in it or whatever.
Yeah,
and they find this little movie that the previous guys have made. So part of this platoon, Kane's platoon. And he's shown in it in the first 2 seconds anyway. So again, I guess it's a tiny little thing if you pick up on his name being on the board, but a split second later you see his face anyway. So and they're watching that video, aren't they? Yeah,
because she's got the who is it? Josie's got a camcorder. And the SD card fits in, so she's able to watch it. And I like this scene. I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, it was one of the most interesting so far.
Yeah, so it looks like they're all shirtless. Well, there's him and another guy, and they're both shirtless in like a darkened area.
Yeah.
And Kane, Oscar Isaac's character, sticks a knife in him.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't just stab him; he is sort of cutting him, very slowly, and they keep reassuring the guy who's being cut. Like,
it's okay. And I thought it was quite well done because obviously it's going to be a fake tummy.
Yes.
But I thought the chest was moving. It could have easily been. It could have looked a lot worse, but I thought it looked quite good.
Yeah, no, that looked pretty.
And they don't ever really cut away, and then so what happens is he basically cuts his whole stomach open in like a door shape and opens it.
Yeah.
And then we have like a big eel kind of monster thing.
Well, it's like his intestines are moving, so it's not exactly his intestines, but it has that thing, you know, they're wrapped around.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense to me going back at what that meant then.
Well, I thought it looked like an alien entity that was just crawling around his insides, exactly. Like wrapping him up like a snake would.
Exactly, like the standard face or whatever, but actually in him, growing inside of him.
Yeah.
So it's that whole thing.
But I quite liked how happy Kane looked. Like he looked like he genuinely got a bit mad, and he starts touching it, and he's like, oh,
yeah,
looking back to camera. Look at this.
It's a bit weird, yeah, because not too many people are freaking out. So it is a bit odd, and they show you that, and then it cuts off, and then obviously Josie starts fucking losing a nut and freaking out.
But then the paramedic, what's her name again?
That's Anya.
Anya, yeah. She's convinced that it's a trick of the light.
Yeah, she's like guts don't move, which is a very astute observation for her. But given the circumstance that they are in an alien area.
If she knows what guts look like, she'll know that weren't guts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've got a note here: idiot hole.
Idiot hole.
She's an idiot hole.
Yeah, because she could have said, "Well, clearly that's a foreign body. You know, it's not his guts." Basically. Yeah. But basically, Josie's freaking out because she's obviously the sensitive, caring one, so she can't handle it and legs it off somewhere, I guess, to throw up or something, doesn't she? And then they go exploring straight away in the base because they find this guy.
Yeah, so there's a little bit before that where they're looking at a blackboard and it's pretty much mapped out their route to.
Oh no, it's just the.
It's the perimeter.
It's the perimeter. So they decide they're gonna stake it out.
Yeah, but then I think they go looking. Then that's when they come to the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Which has a giant bum hole with legs sticking out of it in the wall.
Well, yeah.
Well, the first time I saw it was like, I mean, you get that in a lot of films. It's very Giga inspired, but it's a big bum hole with legs sticking out.
Yeah. Well, it's basically his corpse from the waist down has mutated into something else.
Yeah, and it's all like spread up into the wall, and
but that's it. It's like he's grown up, so he's got like his head's in one part, got his body's in another, but his legs are still sat down on the chair or whatever he was on.
His skull's up there, but he's got the purpley kind of. It's got the glue. It's got the goo.
Well, he's covered with all these flowers and whatever root systems and mutations that are occurring. But
And I quite like the look at the look of that. It
looks
would have
cool.
made a
It
good
looks really
good
cool.
album cover,
Yeah,
like a death metal album cover.
Yeah, no, that would have been cool. But again, for me, I was like, okay, so why have we gone from it looked like there was an alien to he's turned into kind of a tree? Because that's the main thing about it, is it's more these sort of tree-like growths rather than let's say things like the Thing or whatever that come out and transform out of the person.
Yeah.
They don't mutate the person. I don't really understand.
They kind of return. Well, they kind of
they change them
mutating
into something else. They're not manipulating
it's more like
the DNA.
The forest is more absorbing them.
Yeah,
I guess sort of body snatcher style maybe.
Yeah.
But then they find the I can't remember which character it is, but she basically finds the knife which we saw in the water in the scene before, so we know. That's when we know it's the guy.
Well, it was blatantly obvious anyway, but yeah, to clarify it to both Josie and everyone else who need a slap round the back of their head, it's obviously this guy. Because, I mean, you see the dog tags, you see everything, it's the same guy.
But he wasn't a giant bumhole in the video.
Well, you never know, you didn't meet him.
Yeah, that's true.
But they... basically that happens, and then Josie, again, is freaked out. So she's like, I don't want to stay here, I can't stay here.
Yeah.
And they say to her, look, it's night time. We're not going anywhere right now. And then, again, an immediate flashback to Portman's husband again.
50 minutes in, another flashback scene.
Yeah.
Another note. Are they never not in bed?
No, exactly. I mean, she's still in bed, but he's dressed at least and sat on the bed. And he's basically like, I've got to go. And I've got to go now.
Well, he brings her a glass of orange juice. Yeah. Which is quite a nice looking glass of orange juice. Yeah. It made me thirsty, was what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, he says he has to leave right away, and she means, does that mean basically right now?
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah. And then we get the...
I did quite like that. She's like, but we're going to go for a walk.
I know, we
have
had the day
I'm
planned.
in the army.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, but that sounded bloody horrible, so I'm going. I've been drafted earlier.
I'd rather blow myself up than go down that canal again.
And then we get one of the cheesiest lines in the whole film, which is, I do love you, Lena.
Oh god, it was terrible. And then, but luckily it doesn't last too long, because then there's another smash cut back to Area X.
Yeah, and I've got to take this one because this one really annoyed me. So she's taking some samples from our dead bumhole man, and she's looking at them under a microscope, which you can see perfectly in a pitch black room. Yeah. That really bothered me, because it's like a lot of this film is way too dark to see. I don't know how it was for you, but I was like, okay, that's dark. It's night time. She's got no light, and she's watching cells. I would have thought you need a big industrial, a lot of light to see.
No, not on the outside of it. What you want is light on the slide. So it needs to be basically what she has is a microscope that is backlit.
Okay, well, it would look dark regardless. I mean, I don't know if it was meant to be. Well, so she sees the cell split and one's got the gloop in it. I don't know if she can see it because it's glowing, but to me, it was a problematically placed.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay too much attention to that to notice that. Maybe, but it is. Yeah, she's studying the cells, and then she goes off to see what's her name, Dr. Ventress, about it, doesn't she? Who's in the watchtower on the perimeter, doing her check, and she wants to know. What she basically goes up to and says, look, you already in the film told me earlier that you were the profiler, and I want to know why. But she basically wants to know why she decided her husband should go, or why her husband wanted to go, what reason he had to leave her and wanted to be involved, and was he suicidal? Or,
because she refers to it as a suicide mission. Yeah, and then she's like. So because she's meant to be a psychologist, isn't she? Yeah. And she says, are you asking me that as a psychologist, whether he wanted to kill himself, basically? Yeah.
And then it's, I think this was all just a shoehorn in a little bit of, something they wanted to say propaganda-wise. Well, not propaganda-wise, but she's basically like, there's two types of people. There's people who are suicidal, who try and kill themselves, and then there are people who self-destruct, which is the same thing, but basically you're not being as direct about it. So she's like, everybody self-destructs. Everybody who smokes, drinks, takes chances. Basically everybody wants to die, but they don't want to, rush it too much. Mm-hmm. So it basically sets that up, and I think that's meant to be one of their overarching themes or points of this, is the need to let go, the need to die as part of human. Yeah, she says
that it's coded into our DNA.
Yeah,
everyone has their vice that does us no good: drinking, smoking, whatever.
Yeah,
So-
and we do them not because we enjoy them, but because we know of them. We
It's
actively want them to damage us.
yeah, and it's in our nature kind of thing.
Yeah.
But before she gets an answer to her question whether he was suicidal or in her opinion basically.
Yeah.
We we get a loud. Is it just a loud noise?
Yeah, I mean it's almost a bit of a scream, isn't it? You don't really. It's not pronounced. You couldn't tell what it was.
No,
It's
it's
a bit
enough.
of an inaudible sort of mumble muffer.
It's enough to stop them talking.
Yeah.
And she goes to the edge of the perimeter and she's looking down her scope and she's like, something's breaking through the fence.
Yeah, the fence has been broken and they
Yeah.
can't see anything. And at that point, suddenly the
Shepherd comes in.
Well, it's all of them. Shepherd.
No, I think it's only. Is it all of them? I know only Shepherd's left there in the end.
I know there's two of them because they're stood in the guard box and then there ends up being one either side of the guard box. So I think it's not. It might not be Josie. I think it's Kane and Anya.
Okay.
Josie's
Oh, it
still
can't be
inside.
Kane.
Josie's still inside because she's been tranked. That's revealed a little bit later. Is that they had to give her a sedative, didn't they, or something?
Oh, I
Unless
don't-
that's after this part. I'm not too sure. But basically, yeah. Anyway, they're stood either side. I'm sure there's two of them come out because I remember thinking that's quite a good defensive line.
I think one of
Something
the.
shouldn't be able to get past them, but
I think
somehow
yeah.
it is.
I think you might be right. And then I think it's Shepherd and Anya, and I think Anya runs off. I know because later on to come back to this point, she basically says no one saw what happens to Shepherd.
no, it's Josie that says that. I think.
No, it's
Oh
when
no, it is.
where they all
it
tied to a
is,
chair.
Yeah. So I think again, it's just the fact that she was there, but again, nobody saw anything. But Lena's the only one who said there's something coming, or I can see
Yeah.
something. Because once they're there, Shepherd gets jumped from behind. You don't really see what
No.
it is. It's a bit of a blur.
I did write down bear question mark.
Yeah, same. Yeah. A bear eats one of them. I've got. But yeah, she basically gets dragged off, and it's at that point that Lena uses the binoculars, and you kind of see it might be a bear dragging her off.
Yeah.
Which is why she's the only one to visually confirm what it was, and why we're like, oh maybe it's a bear. And then basically that just cuts straight to the next day, doesn't it?
Yeah. So they're I think are they out looking for? Or they're scouting on maybe.
I mean, they're still.
Oh, this is before. Yeah, so they're discussing now, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
up in the watchtower and they're discussing whether they should go back.
Yeah, and they're saying whether they're going to leave or not, and it basically comes down to it that Ventress wants to go. She wants to keep going because she's like, well, why the hell? We've come so far.
Yeah, she wants to go to
It's
the lighthouse.
pointless. Yeah, she wants to go there. Both Josie and Anya want to go. They're both freaked out. They want to leave. And Lena just doesn't say anything. So they basically have an argument. Ventress goes, well, I'm off anyway. Sod you all.
Well, I think it's her that says that once they get to the lighthouse, they keep going and hit the coast, and that would be the easiest way to find their way out.
Yeah, that's it. So she backs Ventress, but without being direct about it. So she sort of says, I'm not, in a roundabout way, I'm not supporting what she wants to do, but it is the best decision kind of thing. And then again, yeah, Ventress sort of leaves, and then Anya gangs up on Lena and says, what you didn't side with us, why didn't you side with us?
Yeah.
And she basically tries to sell them that pitch of no, it's the most reasonable thing to
Yeah,
do.
she's like, I think we should go back as well, but
Yeah.
we've come this far that going forward will be a quick way to get back.
Yeah,
So she kind of convinces us to do it that way.
that's it. Yeah, so she convinces.
And
them it's the
then
best
and then we're
way.
straight back to Benedict Wong, and he's
Yeah.
like, "You lied to them."
Yes, and I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's literally just he goes, well, you're full of it, and then it cuts back to them again.
But there's a good plot point where it says, well, she kind of explains going back would have been safer than going forward. But Ventress had cancer. She was never going to
Yeah.
come back. She had a death wish.
Yeah, and again, it's like she didn't. I don't know how she says she didn't explain it, but she could just tell. She was like she knew from certain things that she wasn't well. She could tell by the way she was saying it.
Yeah.
It's like there was never any point where Ventress sits down and goes, "I've got cancer." Like
I can't remember if another character mentions it or not.
I think it's one of the other characters says it to Lena. She's like, "Well, she's got cancer," or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like, okay.
I might be misremembering that. There's a phrase for manifesting a memory that wasn't actually real by just thinking that you
Yeah.
remembered it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but
might be one of those.
I've got. She explained. Yeah, so but maybe it is because I've got here. She explained she knew that she had cancer, but still wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
So Lena did somehow know. And then we're back to the shimmer again.
Yeah, we're back in the woods now, and they're kind of I guess they're out looking for her, and they find her boot with some bloody guts in it.
Yeah. And then obviously she starts. I don't know why she takes points. She makes Anya and Josie stay together. She's like, all right, I'm going to go look.
I think she wants to look for her, and the other two don't.
Yeah, they don't. I think it is that.
Which is a really stupid thing to do, is to split up if there's a big bear killing everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty stupid. But then this was another point where she's off investigating on her own, and then we see another form that the mutations have taken, which is two really cute, tiny little deer things.
I like these things.
And it's basically, they've got like the best one, because all that's happened is that it looks basically like their antlers have turned into little trees.
Yeah,
and they've got flowers on.
Yeah.
And they were dead nice.
Hippie deer.
And then she walks around the corner and finds Shepard's dead body.
Yeah, and she's placed at the roots of a tree, isn't she?
Yeah. And she's basically got no throat at all. You know, it's been ripped out. And it's at this point that Lena decides to check her pulse. I don't know what she was expecting to find, but she's like, yeah, she's dead. Good call, yeah. And I guess one of these points I'm like, okay, maybe this does operate with a bear's MO slightly, I don't know, but she hasn't been eaten. She hasn't been devoured. She's just been attacked and left.
Yeah.
So there's not really a clear motive for that in terms of, you know, the bear didn't want to eat her for food.
No, but I mean, the throat ripping out does kind of come into play later on.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does it again, but what I'm saying is, it at no point is really using these people as a food source. It seems only to be there as a reason to invoke terror in them. You know, it's not eating them. It's not taking them back to a den and eating them and yada yada.
Well, I don't know if you know.
That we know of.
Well, we'll get to the bear later, which I think explains the voice box thing.
Yeah, no. I'm saying I get that, but otherwise, there's no need for it. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's not eating them to stay alive, is it?
No.
So why attack in the first place?
Well, okay,
yeah.
Plot convenience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I don't understand why it would hair at them, because again, knowing anything about bears usually attack you if they're cornered or feel threatened. They're not going to run.
Or if you're Leonardo DiCaprio.
My mum gets that. She was like, "You're going to watch The Revenant?" I was like, "Probably not." Why? She's like, "Leonardo DiCaprio gets raped by a bear." I was like, "What?" But yeah, she investigates and Shepard's dead.
Yeah.
And she goes back and tells them exactly as
Well,
much.
it annoyed me that they were just waiting for her. And it's like, we could have gone with her.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they were just chilling out.
But there was another, just before that, she puts her bag down again.
No.
There's a lot of her taking her bag off.
And putting it down.
Yeah. Note that'll become important later.
I hope so, because I've been waiting for this.
So they press on and they basically come to a house and they're
Well, they're set at a little play park. They come out in a park, because that's the next scene I've got. Because you've got like the climbing frame and stuff. It's all overgrown and...
Oh, this is where you see all the people.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, like the trees look like they're growing to the structure of humans, basically.
Growing in the shape.
And I quite like that. It was cool looking scene. All these kind
that
of
was nice.
slumped over looking people growing out the ground. I really liked that. I thought that was really good.
No, I think that's one of the nicest design aspects of it, because it's got this kind of Fallout meet Swamp Thing vibe to it. It's like you can tell it's all abandoned and, you know, a once populated area, but everything's turned into trees and stuff. So rather than it being, you know, again, like I say, like a Cronenberg kind of flesh-made people.
Yeah.
Everything's gone more natural. Everything's gone more floral in its mutation.
And it reminded me of that scene at the end of Logan, where it's the main bad guy, and there's the one girl who's got, I don't know what her power is, but she basically turns him into flowers.
Okay.
And I think a plant comes out of his mouth and he gets engulfed by the earth. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that. Kind of body snatches.
Damn, that was a good film.
It was a good movie.
Yeah, I know it's good you made that point, because I think I bring that up quite a bit later. A bit body snatchery, but it's at this point that Josie basically says she's figured out the communication.
Figured it out,
issue.
yeah.
She knows why they can't send signals.
Light waves aren't blocked; they're refracted. So signals aren't gone; they're just being scrambled.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I thought was happening anyway.
Yeah, I mean they can't. Yeah, again, because they make the point. She's like, we can't get a signal, even though there's literally about 1,000 satellites above us right now. We can't do it.
Then there's something explained about the human Hox genes, which is the gene that defines the physical structure, and that's what is making these basically plants. So the plants are copying the people.
What she's saying is that the plants are growing in the sequence. Or
Yeah.
They're making up the form
They're using
of the
it as a
oxygen.
map, yeah.
So they're all kind of flummoxed by that. But what I was like at this point where she's like, yeah, it's like a prism effect, which is why it's all not. And I was like, oh, that kind of makes way more sense because that's why it has that iridescent, oily. It looks as if you're looking through a crystal or through, you see the light reflected. So it's like a bubble. It's like film on a bubble. So okay.
like oil in the water. Yeah, that kind of thing.
So I was like, okay, that brings that a bit more in line.
Refracts all the light, so it's just it's a trick of the eye.
And obviously they do that whole thing of everything being a slight sepia tone, or where everything's a little bit lighter or a little bit off colour.
Yeah,
and then the contrast has just been bumped.
And she explains that it's not just the light refracting; it's everything, even radio waves, DNA.
Yeah.
So everything is being scrambled. It's all gone kaleidoscopic, and everything's just a big keys in the bowl. Shake it up and see what comes out.
Yeah, that's it. So the whole point there being that what they're saying is that their DNA is changing as they're there. So the longer they're there, the more mutations they're going through. Which leads it says they investigate a house.
Yeah, they move inside the house, which I've got down. It's really dark inside, despite being lovely out. It was a lovely day outside.
I don't know. They must have drawn all the curtains again for her microscope because she examines her own blood at this point, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And then charts the mutation, so she can see it developing.
Yeah, but she's looking at her hand at one point, and I was like, because she's kind of giving it a glance, like she's looking at something, and I couldn't really figure out what she's looking at. I thought it was a wedding ring.
No, I think what you might not have picked up on the thing, because I had to have a bit of look. If you look at that point, the characters are starting to get like what you could call like varicose veins, or
they're like
the veins are becoming more pronounced.
Yeah, looking like vines. Yeah.
So I think she was just seeing what was actually happening, and then she starts looking at the mutation of her own cells. Then.
Yeah, so she looks at her own DNA. This is the middle of the night now, so they've hunkered down.
Yeah.
And she's got the glowy prism blood.
Yeah. So she's having a look at that, and then straight back again to another random sex scene cut. So we've had this same cut twice, and it's her having sex, but at this point
you realise who it is.
It's not her husband.
No, it's Dan from the beginning.
That bastard Dan.
Yeah.
Is it David? Oh no, it's not Daniel. It's David Gacy, or whatever his name is.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah,
that's when he was in Interstellar and Cloud Atlas.
That's right. Yeah, we established that at the beginning. But yeah, so you find out at this point that this is still while she was with Kane, and she's been having an affair, and he says, "Do you think he knows?" And she's like, "He knows," and she's like, "Do you hate us?" No,
no, she knows. So I think she says, "Does your wife know?" Because so basically because her husband's away, isn't he? She doesn't know where he's been away for a year, so they're having an affair. So she's saying, does his husband know about the cheating?
Does his husband?
Oh bloody hell! Does Dan's wife know he's knobbing around town? And she's basically saying she's only lonely because of her husband, and he's saying, well, I don't really care about my wife or whatever. I like you and I want to be with you. And she's saying to him, it's never going to happen because I don't love you.
Yeah. Well, she's
basically saying this is the last time it's going to happen, and I don't love you. I'm just using you because I miss my. She flat out tells him, I don't care for you.
Yeah. Well, he says to her, it's you hate, and she goes, no, I hate you.
Yes. Which I laughed at.
You've just been having a bit of a fruity time.
Yeah.
You should at least cuddle. But no, I thought
that was a nice little quip though.
Yeah.
For her.
No, I hate you.
No, it's you I hate.
So I thought. I'm sure it was a line where he thinks that Kane's found out, and I'm sure she turns around and says he has, because I think that plays into the plot later on. Because I think at this point he knows, but
I don't see how, because all of this is taking place because he's been away for 12 months.
This might be before, yes, but okay. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think of what that means later.
Yeah.
So, 1 minute, 1 hour 10 we're in now.
Good God.
So this is where Anya wakes her up and calls her a liar.
Yeah.
And then knocks her straight out.
Yeah, with a gun. Yeah.
Wake up, bang, go to sleep. I've even put, which seems counterintuitive to me.
Yeah. Well, made her go tie her up and then knock her out.
Yeah.
But that's the next bit, isn't it? She comes to, and then all apart from Anya, so Josie, Dr. Ventress, and Lena are all tied to chairs.
They're all tied to chairs in the living room.
Yeah.
It's still night time.
Still night time, and what's her name?
Anya's got
Anya's got the gun on him.
She's got the locket. So she's found out that Kane's her
Husband,
yeah, and she's not happy.
Yeah.
But then that's where she gets accusing, saying that she didn't see the bear. And only her and Ventress did, and she thinks Ventress is mad anyway, so she's convinced that one of them bumped her off.
Basically, yeah.
Which is insane, because they found her foot.
Together, when did she go and...
Was she having a bag and throw it down? Yeah. And if she'd gone with her to the tree, she would have... Yes, but that we'll not talk about.
And also she was there when it happened.
Yeah.
She was stood there as the mystery thing dragged? Either way, took her off. But she basically says at that point then that because of the footage they found of Kane's team that went in prior to them, that what had happened is everyone goes nuts. She's like, everyone went mental and killed themselves, and that's what's happening here. We're all turning against each other and we're all going to kill each other, which is ironic coming from the woman with the gun pointed at 3 people. She's the one that's clearly going nuts, and she even goes at one point, it's like, she says something like, I was looking at my hands and my fingerprints and they were moving. Yeah,
she says, are my insides going to move like my fingerprint?
Yeah.
Or something like that, yeah.
Well, yeah, because she said I was looking at my hand and my fingerprints were moving. So then she says, are my insides moving like my fingerprints? Yeah.
And this is where we get the, we hear the scream, which is Shepard's scream.
Yeah, because she's literally just about to sort of cut Lena's throat.
Yeah, she goes for it with the knife, yeah.
That's it. And then you just hear the scream in the background, and Andy just legs it out of the room, doesn't she, towards
it? She takes the gun and she goes, I think.
Yeah.
And then I just think you hear... Did you just hear some gunshots there?
Yeah, you hear about 2 gunshots and then it goes quiet for a second. And then what you get is the entrance of the bear.
Of the bear.
Which I've got down Scabby Bear.
Scabby Bear, yeah.
Because he's basically got no skin on the front of his face.
No, he looks like whenever you see like a goat skull from like a demon guitar.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But I quite like this scene. It was a little bit tense.
It was probably one of the better scenes in the film, and I really liked it. Because it was it was slow and tense, if you want to call it that. Because the bear comes in from behind, because they're all still tied to chairs, so they can't move anyway. And it basically puts its head right alongside theirs for that sort of creepy ass alien sort of out.
Yeah, it does the alien thing. But then it's making, instead of making bear grunts, it's doing
screaming.
It's doing Shepard's scream.
Yeah,
which kind of that's why it's taken her voice box kind of. That's symbolic for that.
It's eating her vibe or whatever. Yeah. So again, fine. He's a very picky bear that only eats voice boxes.
Yeah, it's a voice box bear.
It's a voice box bear.
It's like one of them bears that you squeeze that makes a sound.
That's how they get them in.
That's how they get them in. Yeah.
Yeah. Every squeaking bear is a child's soul.
Spoilers.
Yeah. And also why I don't bite them. Fucking creepy. But I really like this scene because of this, and it reminded me. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but this is something I think I might suggest as a thing. It's Stephen King. It's a series.
Yeah.
And it's a Stephen King one, and it's called Kingdom Hospital.
I've heard of this. I know of this.
I've been trying to get someone to watch it for years.
That has been in my bookmarks since maybe like 2001 to watch.
Which is, I think, when it came out.
You've only just reminded me of it.
Yeah, I've been talking about it for years to various people, and no one's ever seen it, and I'm trying to get someone to watch it. But basically,
watch that.
Like, do it then, because I need to rewatch it. But there's in this one, the Stephen King book, basically, and it won't ruin anything. The start of the show is this guy who's out cycling, gets hit by a car, and he sees this big anteater, and this anteater becomes, kind of an embodiment of his angers and fear, everything, whatever. It's unclear, and it only ran for 1 season, which is a bit of a shame. But it's a bit unclear whether that ever existed or not. But it reminds me of this bear. It has the same sort of menacing aura about it, and I don't know why, it just really reminded me of that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, but so we've got to have a go on that, because that's great.
Yeah, because the bear's face is, it's because there's no flesh on it.
Yeah,
it is pointed like a kind of aardvarky face.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what it was. It was very. It
reminded me a bit of the baby alien from Alien Resurrection as well, because he's got that weird little nose.
Oh yeah,
he's got like a skull face.
Yeah,
but this is where is it Cassie? Who's Cassie? Oh no,
Cassie's the actress.
Cassie's is Cassie Shepard?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Shepard. Well, Shepard's long dead by now.
Yeah. So this is.
But basically it starts about like biting Josie. So it actually like rests its mouth on her shoulder and is going and is about to bite down, sort of.
It's having a little taste.
It's about to do that, but suddenly then we get Anya turn back up.
She limps back in.
And starts opening fire on it.
Yeah, she's shooting it in the head.
Yes, and it charges at her, and they have a little fight on the stairs there. And then that was one of the best scenes as well, because it sort of paws and just swipes and just cuts her jaw clean.
Yeah. He kind of knocks her down the stairs and then just swipes the jaw off.
Yeah, her face is gone. She's definitely.
I like that. I didn't expect gore when gore happened.
No, that's what I mean. It was a bit unexpected.
Because up till now we haven't really seen anything, because everything's happened off camera all in the dark. It was like, it knocked her jaw clean off. Again, that reminded me of Alien Resurrection, because it knocks the Queen Alien's jaw off.
Yes, yeah. But somehow they all managed to, because it sort of does some weird running around the room, and they basically fall off or manage to break their chairs.
Oh no, the bear knocks Alina into the wall.
That's it, and her chair disintegrates.
Yeah, he smashes, and then she gets them all out, and then
yeah, and she in fact it's actually Josie, I think, that gets to her feet. So the timid one, and she gets the gun, and she shoots half its face.
Yeah,
off.
that is right. Yeah. Because it's not. It mauls her down the stairs, and then she gets up and manages to shoot it. Because that's where I've got not very good CGI shooting to the head, but that's okay.
No.
That's fine. I don't mind that too much. But then we get Dr. Ventis. I think she says that she thinks they have dementia.
Basically, what she's saying is that because of the mutations, they aren't physically the same person that walked in there, or in a matter of time will not be.
Yeah.
And obviously she's conscious about her mortality because she's got the cancer anyway. She's got the cancer.
You got the cancer. You ain't got the cancer, have you, Ventis?
That's it. But she's basically saying like their minds and bodies are disintegrating. They're not, they're deteriorating the longer they're there. And she basically wants to get to the epicenter. She wants to get to the lighthouse and figure it all out before it's too late. She doesn't want to be a gibbering wreck. She wants to still understand what's happening when she gets there. And she decides to just bob out right there. And they're like, but it's middle of the night. We've just been attacked by a bear and a nutter with a gun. And she's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm off. I'm going now. Yeah. So then obviously all you've got left is Josie and Lena, and then it sort of pans to a day shot of those sat outside of the complex, looking at these flower people or bushes in the shape of people, and they have a little discussion about what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and this is where she says to her that I think she asks her how long her husband was in the shimmer, and she says possibly a year, theoretically, because I guess they don't really know how long time elapses. But and then she tells her that she's checked her blood and it is in her. But then we get a shot of Josie's character, but you can clearly see the vines are taking to her neck, so it's in her too.
Yes, yeah. And she starts talking about how weird it is, how odd it was hearing Shepard's voice coming from the bear as it screamed and stuff. And she's talking about what happened was that somehow part of Shepard is now inside the bear, or is one with the bear. Pretty
much got this line paraphrased down. She says, "A dying mind became that creature. Imagine that part being the only part that survives. I wouldn't like that at all."
No, yeah. I was gonna say that was paraphrased because I've got the exact quote here. Yeah. Some part of her became one with the bear as it was killing her. Imagine dying in pain and having that as the only part of you that survives.
That's right. Yeah.
I wouldn't like that at all. So basically what she's saying is that even through death with these things, that somehow you're never released. You become part of it. So basically Shepard is or was that bear, or became that part of that bear. So it's a bit weird, a bit out there, and again not something that they really wrap up or talk about after that point.
And then she says that Ventress wants to face it, you want to fight it, referring to Lena.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to do either.
Yes, yeah.
And that's when she wanders off.
Yeah. And because just before that, you get the shot of the mutation occurring, which is the blades of grass coming out of her arm.
Yeah. So the vines.
I think that was probably one of the better played shots, because what that shows you is the scars. So she's got the self-harm scars, and the blades are coming from that.
Yeah. So I didn't pick up on that. That's quite cool.
See, this for me was the best setup and callback, because basically what that's doing is that they're calling back to earlier when Shepard and Lena are talking, and she says, yeah, she self-harms, but it's not because she wants to die, it's because she wants to feel something.
Yeah.
She wants to feel alive, which is what lends itself to this scene so specifically, because then we've got life sprouting from these marks, which I thought was really good.
That is nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the only subtle or nice parts I picked up.
Well, I picked up quite a few, but I'll...
I mean, there were 3, but I mean, that's one of the ones I liked.
Yeah.
But
so
then after that, she basically just wanders off.
Yeah, and Lena just goes to follow around the corner, and then there's a field of these tree people.
Yeah.
Tree people kind of makes it sound rubbish, but
but
she's nowhere to be seen, so you kind of get the impression that she's a tree person. Yeah, she's
I mean, she was full out turning into one as she walked off around the corner. And basically, I'm going to go with she was the red one because it was the closest one in frame. Yeah. And it's like, well, she would have, she'd still be walking. So it's a bit obvious that was her desire. She didn't want to fight it. She saw, turning into one of these tree things as a beautiful fitting end. I think her overarching thing was that she
accepted her fate, didn't she?
Well, she accepted her fate, but I think again, everyone's saying they're going in there because they've got nothing to lose. I think that was it for her. I think that was actually what she would have wanted.
Yeah, she wanted to feel life.
Yeah,
and then she found it.
For her, that was exactly what she got.
Yeah, it was a nice touch.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. And then obviously we go straight back to more interrogation.
I'm right about the refractions, weren't I?
Yeah. I checked my blood last night. It's in me.
Okay, so it's a cut back to the modern day again with our friend Benedict.
Yeah. Okay, interrogation again.
Yeah, interrogation again. And he's saying to her, everyone's gone but you. And how do you explain that?
Yeah.
And this is where she said she had to come back, but she's not sure she even did.
Mm-hmm. Which is something that will probably get cleared up a little bit later on.
Yeah. You would hope.
One
would hope.
Yeah.
And then we've got the chapter 3 heading of the lighthouse. So we know we've made it to where the whole movie was.
We're basically in the boss fight.
We're at the boss fight. Yeah. We've got our health pack.
That's it. Shotgun ammo.
That's it. We've saved our BFG. We've got our plasma ammo.
Oh, BFG.
We've quick saved. We've told all our friends we're going in.
Yeah. Don't call me for 5 minutes.
No. But yeah, so this is where we get another flashback of them both reading books on the sofa, which I don't think is something that couples do. Have you ever read a book?
Only couples that don't like each other.
Yeah, it's like, why are you reading that book?
I used to read a lot with my ex. Yeah. No, I guess it's just trying to set up the fact that
no.
intellectuals or whatever. It's trying to be a bit character buildy, isn't it?
Yeah. And as I said before I realised I hadn't pressed record on the microphone. Lena's reading The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which is a book about the immortal cell line that derived from the author's cervical cancer. So that's a through line that seems to be running throughout.
Yeah, cervical cancer or cancer in cells. It's
yeah.
Well, basically that's the whole point, is that cancer is a mutation of a cell. So yeah, we're basically. I mean, I guess they couldn't have called it cancer from another planet. It probably wouldn't have been as.
That would have been great.
It would have, yeah, probably not as catchy as Annihilation, but same thing.
Yeah, and then we get a snap cut to her crying in the woods.
Miserable bitch.
Yeah, she doesn't like the woods.
She's got allergies.
Yeah,
but she misses her husband, and
she does miss her husband. Yeah. And I think there's one point actually before this when I was thinking to myself, for having survived in the woods for They reckon when at
least 4 days to 6 days.
Yeah, and 4 to 6 days. They look awfully clean and tidy. Not too much fatigued, but that doesn't matter too much.
Well, they had a bath when they saved one of them from the croc, didn't they?
That's true. They had a very good bit of wash.
So they're about halfway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because it might have happened off scene, but they might have thrown a bit of matey bubble bath in.
Bit of matey.
Everyone likes a bit of matey. Everyone likes a bottle themed like a pirate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And the joke goes full circle.
I self-implicated. But yeah, so she's crying a bit, but somehow emerges through the woods to the beach.
Yeah, so she's at the ocean, the coastline now. Mm-hmm. And this is where we see the crystal trees.
Yes, and I really like those. I thought they looked really cool. Again, probably obviously the most noticeably CGI thing in the entire thing, but
still good design. And I quite like that. You had the trees, but then you also had like little balls of crystal. I don't know if it's
just actual crystal formations.
It's meant to be like a sprouting tree, or they're just there. I really like that. That looked It looked like if you were playing something like Destiny, you'd have to run over and press A and pick it up, and then you can make something out of it. It's a loot item.
Charge your crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it had a mini map, they'd be dotted everywhere.
Well, it really reminded me. I don't know if there's I might have showed it you before. There's a music video for one of Bjork's songs. It's called Crystalline, and that's sort of a stop animation video, and it reminded me of that because that's what you get is the crystals coming out.
Yeah, that's a brilliant video.
Yeah, it's nice because I think what it is, it's shot basically like ice reverse melting. Shot forward, so it's coming up.
Yeah, I watched that. Watched it quite a lot. It's a really good album.
I like it. Yeah. It's again, Bjork is not for everyone, but
the more insane she's become, the better her music has become. Yeah. So that's good for everyone involved.
I prefer more insane, up to date Bjork than 90s Bjork.
Oh God, yeah,
because that was a horrible song.
When you listen to the rest of her music, where did that song come from?
Yeah, because that was how she got into the charts.
You know what we should review next? Dancer in the Dark. If you ever watched that, she's in that.
Is that Björk?
I've never seen it, but I know she's in it. I'm guessing it's her dancing in the dark. And it's so quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she walks across the beach of crystal trees.
Yeah, towards the lighthouse, and she's met with some skeletal remains along the way.
And actually, sorry, I'll just do it. Sorry to interrupt, but it's funny you mentioned earlier about what was that Stephen King TV show?
Kingdom Hospital.
Because I've put here that the crystal shards, and this is where we get a violin score that comes in.
Yeah.
And I've got it here. Reminds me of one of those TV Stephen King adaptations. So there's a bit of a vibe going on, yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I know it's pure nostalgia from the crap I had to watch growing up, but I like it. Everything now is a little bit too hyper-realistic, and things that weren't built very well back then, like, them TV adaptations that had to try a little bit harder. When you watch them now, they still seem like... I know, they don't seem real, but they don't seem...
Well, they still hold up.
Yeah, they do.
To me, that's like the original Jurassic Park.
Oh, well, that was just particularly well made.
It's because they did see animatronics. They did some really good stuff. But that's what I mean. When you look at that now, you can look at that T-Rex scene and most of that is CG. Yeah. But when you look at it back now, you go, no, fuck, that holds up. That still looks good to me.
Yeah, they did really good practical things like, okay, we might have a CGI raptor, but we're going to blow the papers across the table when it jumps down.
Yeah, so you've got realistic elements. Yeah. Or again, the long shot is all CG, but the foot is animatronic, the face is animatronic, so you're getting all those elements.
As long as you've got one or two things that add to practicality and a weight to what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. You just need some substance to back it up.
God, I can't say that now.
No, I wouldn't bother.
Substances.
Waste of time. But yeah, anyway, so she's basically at the lighthouse now, and she sees all these human remains, which, again, I'm not too sure on the numbers of, in terms of why, but you've got like 4 torsos and 10 skulls, and then a couple of arm, leg bones and femurs or whatever dotted around. And then there's quite a few shots of those, and it's made to look almost...
like a pagan ritual.
Ritualistic, yeah. So, that threw me. Because it's not really explained. You get a couple of shots of it, but she just goes straight into the lighthouse.
She goes into the lighthouse, and inside it's all the walls it's all very nicely magnolia.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of veiny like the tree vines, but it looks more like human veins.
Yeah, and then obviously another big bum hole in the centre of the room.
This is our second big bum hole of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly third.
Depends if you're counting certain characters.
Yeah. Stole my joke.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But next to that there is a corpse with a sootle around it, which looks like
scorch marks.
Yeah, scorch marks. Yeah. If you've ever put a candle too close to a wall.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah, you put a candle on the shelf and gone. Oh, yeah.
Interestingly, here's a fact for you. Did you know that Play-Doh was originally invented to? Well, maybe not originally invented, but it was used to get coal stains off the walls, and it bloody works as well because we burnt the wall.
All right.
Bit of Play-Doh comes right off. It's very good at picking up soot. Or soot. But yeah, so we have this burnt corpse, and there's a camcorder pointing right at it.
Yes, yeah, rather skillfully. And he's sort of under. Well, I say the skeleton's under the stairs, surrounded by this sort of halo of scorch marks.
Yeah. And she can't resist. She goes over and she watches the video.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
Well, you got to watch it, yeah.
I love this though because this is the moment where, as I was watching it, my mum came in. And she was like, "Oh, are you watching that?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I'm watching it downstairs."
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she goes, "Oh, you think it's a bit like Dog Soldiers, but for women?" And I was like, "I think you've just summed that film up, Mum. I think you."
No, because
Yeah.
Dog Soldiers is
Had werewolves in it.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm in the Kazi!
And it had Pertwee in it, didn't it?
Did have
So it's
Pertwee,
another
the second
full
Pert-
circle callback to
Yeah.
Pertwee today.
But there is a bit where they cut his stomach open and his guts fall out. He's like, "Oh look, sausages!"
Yeah, exactly.
Because the dog starts pulling them. Give me that back!
Oh God!
God, that's a good movie.
It is a good movie. But I loved her little introduction here because I had a little chat to her about it. And she was like, "Yeah, it's like Dog Soldiers for women." And I was like, "All right, but what do you reckon about that?" And she was like, "It's a bit formulaic in terms of the film." And I was like, "Yeah, I get that." But she was like, in terms of, excuse me, plots for women or something. She was like, "There's a lot of this resurgence now. Like there's a women's rights thing. Or I don't want to trivialise it by saying that." But in terms of that, there's a lot of this whole people coming forward in terms of the allegations coming to light.
Me Too.
Yeah, the whole Me Too movement, and there's been this huge emphasis now on trying to, get as many strong female parts out there or whatever, and that's led to things like the Ghostbusters remake, which unfortunately was terrible.
Didn't see it yet.
It was awful. I mean, it's got nothing to do with whether they're women or not. I mean, it wasn't shit because they were women. It was just a shit film.
No, because I quite like Bridesmaids. I thought that was
Yeah, Bridesmaids was hilarious.
Yeah,
It had
really
50% of the same cast, didn't it? So
pretty much all. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, it should have been better because it actually had Dan Aykroyd and people pop up in it, but that made it slightly sadder. But either way, I mean, what you tend to get with these female lead roles is that they don't actually make them any better, unfortunately. All they do is chuck women in them, and it doesn't emphasise the plot. It doesn't say anything about, them being strong female women or have anything to do with them plot-wise. It's just they are women. So it's the whole thing of it could have been men, it could have been women. The story was the same. It had no fucking point. But they make a thing of saying, right, we're going to put an all-female cast in it, and that's going to make it better. Not necessarily.
It shouldn't.
It's not going to make it.
It
worse.
shouldn't need to be anything anyone points out anyway.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
It's like it's not even worth mentioning. It should just be. It's fine.
Yeah, but her point on this one was though it was although it being a slightly formulaic film in some ways, it was one of the better ones for it. It didn't dwell on. They weren't all going, "Oh, I've got my period," or I miss my husband. They weren't all stereotypical helpless women that needed their man.
Oh, there is I can't remember what it's called. There's a test that someone formulated. I can't remember who it was now, but they basically say, is there more than two women characters?
Two female characters, and they have more than one line.
Did he have? Yeah. Did he do anything but talk about basically a man? Yeah.
Or serve someone, but basically that's it. It's the derogatory casting of let's say a useless female stereotype that they can only fetch the coffee and cry or be rescued.
Yeah.
So luckily, this is where you get things like, and no one ever picks up on that. Like Buffy was huge for that. Buffy was a main component of that. And things like this, it was. I wouldn't say it gave them, anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't groundbreaking Oscar territory for them. But again, they weren't all portrayed to be falling apart, hysterical, babbling.
No, and I
didn't.
didn't.
It was a bit stronger. It was a little bit.
The only point that I even really it sounds silly to say that I noticed they were all women. The only point I thought about it was when I think I mentioned it earlier, where I said, I wonder if they're all there for like a reproductive.
Whether that's got
point.
something to do
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
And then it did make me think as well, and I wrote it down, but I didn't mention it because I didn't want to harp on the woman thing in case people thought I was, leaning on that too. But I thought, kind of reminds me of How Much I Like the Descent, because that was an all-female cast.
I was at the potholing.
Yeah,
Maybe potholing. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, to go back to Dog Soldiers, same director, but absolutely brilliant movie. And I did. It made me think that was a better, more realistic portrayal of people, not necessarily women.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were a really good group of women that.
But again, that's the whole point. Is that it shouldn't matter. I mean, whether the story features women or not is neither beside the point. But it's how they're portrayed in that.
The point that I thought that was it was just after they watched the scene of the guy where Kane cutting that guy's stomach open, and they all react in completely unbelievable ways. And I thought that's not how just a group of people would react to seeing that.
No, I mean, obviously, what you had was Josie's reaction of just terror was probably the most close to a normal reaction. Yeah, someone's going to go, oh, and whatnot. But yeah, it's always too calm for me. Any times like they go, oh my god, that's disgusting. Or you'd be like, fuck! You would not be swearing.
Right, we're leaving, we're going, let's fucking get out of here.
Yeah, like, hell no.
Yeah, gender doesn't come into that.
No, of course. But again, what I'm saying is that usually, the archetype of casting for a woman is subservient to the male roles. And usually what you get then is a really cut and paste female character who talks about shopping and men. And that's
or it goes completely the opposite way and you get like G.I. Jane.
Yeah, you have to prove she's a badass. But that's what I'm saying is that usually what you get in a, let's say, male-dominated cast is you get these really crappy little roles for women.
Like
funnily enough, turning
Predator, the woman in Predator, who her one goal is to get to the chopper.
Yeah, and does she?
I think she does.
Oh, good.
I can't really. I can't remember because they didn't make her that important in the goddamn movie.
You know what? I don't remember a woman in that film at all.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
So she watches the film.
Yes, Christ.
So we're getting back to the movie now.
Yeah.
She watches the camcorder, which this is a okay. Actually, no, I'll point that at the end. So is this a video of? Oh, hang on a second.
So this is right. So she's in the.
I thought
lighthouse.
it's a video of water.
Right. So this video is horseshit.
It's a really low res video. It's compiled scenes, isn't it? So you've got the ocean. And
yes,
then
it starts. It's basically like the Ring video.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
because you see shots of the sea and the crystal trees, and then you've got shots of these arranged remains outside, which are the skulls and stuff.
And some of it looks super HD, and some of it looks like low res VHS. I noted.
Yeah, and then you get these quick shots of like an alien, like humanoid.
You get the fiery bum hole,
and then you get like some shots of her husband and other shots, but at this point it doesn't seem like these could have been edited together.
I know who's pausing it.
Who's done the editing on this, because there was no stops and gaps. It was just weird little scenes. So I had a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
That.
And then you see Kane walk in, he sits down, basically where the corpse is. And at this point I thought, okay, you've established it's 3 years of expeditions. He's been there for a year.
Yeah.
They've only just gone in. Who is charging that camera battery? No, I know it sounds silly, but unless that battery is evolving...
Yeah, which it could be.
Well, I don't think there's any DNA in batteries. There's lithium ion, occasionally.
Right.
But yeah, that it's silly that's the main thing that bothered me about this movie. So there's no way that camera would
out of everything, that probably
no
is.
life in that camera.
But, you get all these little shots and stuff, and then basically he sits in front of the camera and he has a little philosophical crisis with himself.
Yeah, he says, I thought I was a man, I had a life, people called me Cain. No, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, so he states that he's not sure who he is or what he's meant to be.
And
so
you think you think he's talking to camera at this point.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't know if I'm me, maybe I'm you.
Yeah.
Maybe you're me. And I was like, okay, these are some quite cool theory, like outlooks on connectedness or whatever.
Was I you? Were you me?
Were you me?
Flesh moves like liquid. My mind is cut loose. Can't bear it.
My blood is gasoline.
And then he reaches in. Is it this little bag next to him? He goes, "Ever seen a phosphorus grenade?"
It's not a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he talks to the camera and he goes,
Well, he says find Lee.
Yeah, you find it, and you just hear, I will. So there's someone behind the camera who he's talking to.
Yeah.
And and then he
blows himself up.
Yeah, he basically just blows.
Which was nice, because I was like, is it going to be one of these cut to her reaction? But no, you actually saw the grenade go off.
Yeah.
And I was like, it looks pretty well done.
Yeah, and then basically a duplicate, possibly a duplicate. I can't say the word. Duplicate.
Clone.
Or the original Kane walks forward.
Walks into shot.
Yeah. And this is where she decides, after seeing all this, I'm going to go down the bumhole.
Yeah.
Going down the colon. But it was quite a nice shot. It reminded me again of Giga, because it looked like...
This was the most... This was like a cut and paste from Aliens. This was the most Geiger-esque shot.
But again, at this point, I think I mentioned it before, it's quite a nice score, because you've got all these weird kind of twisty violins. It's a bit like... what's Under the Skin kind of.
Yeah.
They had a really good creepy score.
It's like an ethereal kind of otherworldly kind of sound to it.
It's a very worrying score to it.
Yes, yeah. And she ventures downstairs and finds Ventress.
Yeah, Dr. Ventress is down there. And I don't know if you picked this up, but I swear at one point she had bandaged eyes.
It looked like she was blind, right? Right, the very first shot looked like her eyes had
Yeah,
healed
and I
over.
thought, oh, she's gone all Event Horizon.
Yeah.
And then she turns around and no,
And she was fine.
She's got eyes.
So-
Is that a mistake?
It might. I don't know whether it's just bad lighting, as in your eyes are tricked a bit by it, or I don't know.
Because I thought when she first turned up, I thought they darkened her eyes because it looked like her eyes were black, and I thought, is that a plot point? Have they just put lenses on her? And I don't know if there's like some symbolism going on there. But I definitely thought she's got no eyes.
Yeah.
And if we both thought it, then it might just be bad lighting. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of a weird one. But at this point, she's sort of talking bollocks, isn't she? And she's like...
She's saying, I needed to know what was in the lighthouse, but that moment's passed now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I
Well,
know
obviously
it's in-
you're here,
yeah.
yeah. But she's like, it's inside me, it's unlike us, and I don't know what it wants.
But it will grow until it encumbers everything.
Encompasses everything, yeah. It will expand and envelop until nothing exists, and then we get the title name, Annihilation.
Mortal Kombat.
Sorry,
that was one of the worst sequels of all time.
I know, but I could hear the Mortal Kombat theme in my head. Yeah. So anyway, but basically what that does then is it sets up the correlation between the cell structure and the entity.
Mm-hmm.
They really hammer this into you at that point in the film. And they start basically... because that's the whole point, is that's what happens, is that the cell envelops, breaks down, and then expands and duplicates. So they sort of hammer that aspect of it into you, and then she starts sort of glowing. And she sort of gets like an internal light coming from her mouth.
Flames kind of come out of her mouth, and then like licking light, sort of flame-esque comes out of her mouth. And I've got to note that Lena doesn't really react to this.
No, she kind of just stands there, doesn't she?
No, that's what I thought would happen.
That's nice. But basically, she sort of erupts into this sort of ball of light and all these like little bubbles. And stuff.
And she's kind of got like a beatbox kind of sound effect going on. It's like.
I've got here. She turns into a small supernova playing light dubstep.
I've got it's like a beatbox style shit Enterprise thruster bumhole.
Yeah.
/ Eye of Sauron with a Windows Media Player visualizer in the centre.
That's what it is. It's a Windows Media Player visualizer. Christ, that's hard.
I hope that painted a good picture because.
No, but that's exactly what it looks like. Is because it's constantly swirling and vortexing.
Yeah, it's got
around.
the I don't know what. Yeah, it's a visualization.
But it is like War of the Worlds dubstep edition. Because I've just got. It looks like a liquid metal dubstep alien.
Yeah.
Well,
that comes. Because that's what happens afterwards.
No. I'm just saying that's because it's like a swirling cloud square thing with an eye. And it keeps playing this sort of weird dubsteppy sort of War of the Worlds kind of bullshit.
I think at this point she tries to shoot it.
Oh, she just legs it. She just runs straight out. Basically, this thing is... Oh, no, she stood next to it.
It starts to form like into...
Somehow, there's no cut on her face or anything, but this blood just comes from her eye and gets drawn into the centre.
It's like it rips a mole off or something. Yeah, it goes into it, and then it starts to like envelop into a human again.
That's it. Well, no, even then, it starts to sort of multiply and sort of move about, and that's when you actually
see the cells. You can see
her cells, big cells, yeah. And then she just legs it.
She leaves.
And then you see the human form of this liquid metal dubstep.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so she's back in the room where Kane burnt himself with the phosphorus grenade.
She crawls back out the bumhole.
Back out the bumhole, and then she sees the It's basically like you've ever played Virtua Fighter?
No.
The last fighter in that is I think it's called Dural.
Okay.
And it's basically like because they were cheap, so they had a really low textured. It's basically like Liquid Terminator. Just a silver metal thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you've got this music going on.
Well, have you ever seen Arjun or Ajin?
No.
Pronounce it. Wait,
Agincourt? The Battle of Agincourt.
No, yeah. It's an anime or what do you want to call it? Manga, cartoony, graphic novel kind of thing. And it's something about it's another one that's on Netflix at the minute, which is why it popped into my head. But they're basically like immortals that can't die and they reconstitute, but they've got these kind of ghosts that they can project that are made out of carbon matter, basically.
Oh, okay.
So it just reminded me of one of these because it's basically like a ghost sort of shadow copy, basically. This one looks a bit weird. It kind of looks like she's in like a sequin morph suit kind of thing, you know.
Yeah,
there's no definition. She's got no sort of eye holes.
She has like an indent where her mouth will be. She looks a bit like if you like a PS1 game where they couldn't render a mouth moving, so they just have a dent.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's like a mannequin kind of thing, you know. There's no real form to it. Just maybe like, you know, like a hint of breast and
yeah,
bum, and then, you know, that's, you get the form but no details, no eyes.
Yeah, she's got like a weird texture of like a weird graphic texture of sort of with like a kind of like a burnt metal, like a scorched metal. Yeah, just different shades of brown and blue and kind of thing.
That's it. But what happens then? So she basically tries to get out, doesn't she? She goes for the door.
But it's mimicking all of her moves.
Yeah.
Which I thought, if you moved away and then if she walked backwards,
went backwards the door, it would go backwards.
Yeah, and then she just circled the room.
But the thing is, she doesn't really figure that out, does she?
No.
I mean, it obviously mimics her, like they did with the hand movements and stuff. And she goes to...
I think she goes to punch it.
Well, she picks up the tripod that the camera was on and tries to smash it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Liquid Terminator hits her with a tripod or she...
No, she hits it with a tripod, but what was annoying me here is that there was no mimic in that. So it lets her pick it up, basically.
Yeah.
And she hits it, and it then lashes and hits her and knocks her to the floor. And she goes down. But
she gets knocked out again.
She gets knocked out, but the ghost or whatever it is goes down with her. So I mean, it doesn't fall with her, but as she's lying down there, it goes and carefully lies down in the exact same position and mimics her again.
And I've got on here, when it bends, she crouches down and it does a sound effect which kind of made it sound like it was doing a big fart.
Oh, really?
It goes,
yeah. I did, yeah, because she sort of she does a squat. That's it. It's more of a squat position.
Yeah.
So with that noise, you're like, why is it just farting at her? Jesus.
But then she comes to, and then she goes to the door. Then she just legs it to the door.
Yeah, she runs to the door, and obviously the thing follows her and pins her right against the door.
Yeah, he just kind of mimics her stance on the door and squashes her against it, basically.
But then there's a weird bit where basically, what I thought was going to happen there was actually like the cell mitosis. I thought it was going to envelop her. I thought it was going to absorb her.
Become one.
Yeah. I was actually waiting for it to happen. But somehow, basically, she obviously twigs that it's mimicking her and mimicking her pressure or force or whatever. So she kind of just goes limp and falls over. And
I thought that it was stopping her from breathing, so she just passed out from...
I mean, it might have been that. I don't know. But she basically falls over. But this whole scene then is that they have this whole fucking... interpretive dance scene with all this.
Well, this is after they've woke up again.
Yeah, so she blacks out and it again wakes up next to her the next time she comes to again. But yeah, I was a bit put off by that because it's kind of like, oh, she was in Black Swan, let's make her do some dancing. And it was a bit cringy for me.
It was a little bit. I think it went on for a little bit too long.
Yes, yeah, because it was already self-evident that it's mimicking her. It's only doing what she does, yada yada yada. And they kind of really tried to make it like too beautiful, they were trying to make it like a tragic, beautiful, weird occurrence, and it was kind of like, this is just lame now. Don't.
But then, what happens next is she takes a phosphorus grenade out of the bag and hands it to our tin friend, who doesn't really mimic giving it or taking it.
She just holds it.
She just holds it. Yeah. But Natalie Portman's already pulled the pin.
Very slowly as well, though. So she's doing it kind of like she knows it's mimicking her or whatever, but she's trying not to be too quick or whatever. So she basically pulls a grenade and starts heading for the door.
But you think she just walk? Yeah, she just walk.
She just walks out.
Yeah, but then he stands there.
But as it's holding it, it's where they do a shot. They look down at the hands and they look back up, and as you look back up, it's starting to take her face.
That's right. Yeah, it's mimicking it to her.
Actually turn into Natalie Portman, and by the time she's walked away, she's fully formed. She is another Natalie Portman holding it there, and as she walks out the door and is doing the whole looking behind her kind of thing. And obviously you see it go off.
Yeah, it goes off, and then she gets the fire gauntlets from Devil May Cry.
Yeah,
because she got her hands on fire. And then she bends down and she sets fire to Kane's old face.
Well, basically, what she does is she touches the top of his head.
Yeah, and then that
And then that sets on fire, and then it's kind of like a slow looking around, and everything
slowly
sets on fire.
I really like the look of the flames.
Yeah,
they had like a really overexposed kind of glow to them.
Yeah.
And then she crawls back down the bum hole.
And then and this is my note, dead into the centre of the room.
Yeah, onto the plinth. But I really like that visual. It looked really nice. It was all glowing.
The whole thing was nice. And obviously the room is slowly engulfing in flames as she's going.
Yeah.
So everything is going up, basically. The whole lighthouse is in flames as we sort of pan back.
And I think as she goes outside, all the trees on fire as well.
Well, basically, as soon as the lighthouse starts going up, the crystal trees, basically, they like a quick fire reaches up them and they sort of explode in a way, like they sort of shatter
little
and
combustion,
come crumbling down, and everything basically just turns into like sand or something, which is kind of cool because you're like, well, that's probably what it was, it's the sand crystals or the salt crystals or whatever
returning to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're back in the present day with Benedict Wong again. I think it's Benedict Wong at this point.
Yeah, there's a quick scene though. There's it shows you some makeshift graves. Just before we get there, there's like a load of little sort of twiggy graves.
I thought that was just panning back to where we saw them skulls.
Well, no, because they were in the foreground of where the thing was. But it's kind of like she starts making her way, let's say, back down the beach, and it is like a 1 second shot of just these graves. But unfortunately, there's nothing to go on there. There's not like 3 of them signifying they're for the rest of the team or anything. So you don't know who they're exactly for. But yeah, there's that quick shot, and then she's back in the interrogation again.
Yeah, and he asks her, so it was alien.
He goes for about 8 in a second, doesn't he? He goes, oh, it was alien? What did it look like? Was it carbon?
Yeah,
what did
can
it
you describe its form?
Yeah. Did it destroy anything?
It mirrored, she attacked.
Yeah. But that's basically what she says, isn't it? She says it wasn't destroying anything. It was making something new.
Making new, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he asks what it was making. She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The lighthouse.
Why should I know?
The lighthouse is ash now.
Yeah, we can't go back. There's nothing there.
And I've got to know that you see her wedding ring through the ash.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember it, but I wrote it down.
I don't remember ever being able to see a clip of that.
Yeah.
Because I've got here what you get is she's talking to the guy, and obviously she takes a sip of water, and what you're presented with is the same scene in the film earlier where her husband did the same thing.
Yes, yeah.
So you're waiting for that little bit of blood residue, and it doesn't come.
No.
So you're kind of like, oh, she's all right, sort of thing.
But then she goes to see him.
Yeah, because Benedict says to her, he's fine. She was like, as soon as the lighthouse went up, his vitals returned to normal, his heartbeat returned to normal, he's got no fever, he's fine, and he's sat up basically waiting for you. He's awake and he's not regained normal functions. So she goes off to see him, doesn't she?
That's right, yeah. And then this is where I think she says to him, or someone says he's not Kane, and then
she says it right to him. She says, "You're not Kane, are you?"
He's like, "Are you Lena?"
He says, "I don't
Lena?
think so."
Yeah.
He says, "I don't think so."
Then they have a hug.
Yeah.
And you get evil eyes from Kane, and then her eyes change colour.
Yeah, it's kind of like you get like they sort of shimmer, sort of a purpley colour, and then it takes about a beat, but then you see her eyes do it as well. So surely you're realising that neither of them are
who they once were.
Yeah, they're both completely different people.
And that's a close. That's the end of the movie.
That's it.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then I've got nice credits because they were kind of all bubbly and squirrely.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Oh, I skipped through the credits just to see if there's anything at the end.
Was there?
No.
No. Good.
No. Oh, there was a lot of credits in different languages.
Oh.
Which Netflix does, so you get the Chinese ones, you get the German ones. Yeah.
That's good of them.
So, at a close, and having gone through everything and knowing the ending, did it change your opinion of it for not being very good from the start?
Yes and no. I still don't think it was very good, but I don't think it was that bad. I'm a little bit. I think I'm about 50-50 on it.
That's about right, I think.
Yeah. Because again, I don't know whether it's me. I don't know whether I've just watched that many films now that I'm jaded and that things just seem too obvious from the get-go to me. Because a lot of things do. As soon as her husband walked in, I was like, well, that's not her husband. That was confirmed as soon as he sits down with the flash grenade or whatever. You're like, well, it's not her husband then, is it? That's a clone. because it's apparent from the way he's moving, and he's very cold and insular when he gets there. And as soon as she gave her the grenade, I knew that wasn't her as well. Because basically what you see is that scene, like you say, where she's got the flaming hands and she goes over and touches his head.
Yeah.
That is the most significant reason for that being the real Natalie Portman. Because she feels tender. That was her husband. She knows that was the real physical husband. So she goes over and touches him and then dies. So what you've got there is that somehow, in that scene before you've got to it, the metallic one was actually the real Natalie Portman.
Or in between being passed out, they switched.
Somewhere there, when the morphing into Portman and then the handing of the grenade, what I think happens is that the clone hands the grenade to her and then leaves.
Yeah,
because that's where you've got this look where she just has this sort of look of disbelief as it pans back to her as she's burning, kind of thing.
Well, I don't know if you. Well, it depends what your whole interpretation of the film is. I think the whole film. Well, none of it's meant to be real. It's meant to be a metaphor. I don't know if you picked up on this.
Right.
So what I think happened is all of the special effects and the aliens and monsters and all the characters, they're all just Natalie Portman. So what I think is meant to have happened is that they've lost a baby.
Okay. So it's the baby's room they're painting, sort of.
Yeah, it's the baby's room. She's lost a baby to cervical cancer. And her husband's either left or gone off and killed himself, and she's had an affair. Every character on that's the platoon is a personification of herself. So you've got the smart one, you've got
the medical background
one, you've got the one who's a bit of a brawler, you've got even the one that says she lost a little girl.
Yeah.
So they're all of herself, and then you've got. So there's a lot of visual imagery. I thought the backpacks are too big. In every scene, it basically means baggage.
Yeah.
She's always putting it down. She's leaving the baggage behind. When she gets attacked by a crocodile, it steals the baggage. So I think that's a symbol for her leaving behind this past.
Yeah.
So, and as each character gets killed off, that's her getting
relinquishing part of herself.
Yeah, and so the one, and it's kind of like the stages of grief. So you've got the anger, you've got the cancer, which is the woman.
Acceptance, isn't it? She knows she's going to
acceptance is the one. She goes and becomes a big plant. She's like, this is fine. So I think the whole thing is a big metaphor for her dealing with the death of her daughter and losing that part of herself to then be able to move on. And I think the only thing I couldn't figure out was whether the idea is at the end her and Kane, because he comes back to her, but they're never going to be the same people because they've lost a child.
Yeah.
And at the end they're different, but they can be together again because they've got past everything. He's gone away. He's destroyed, he's self-destructed and destroyed his past. She's done the same. Mm-hmm. And now finally they can be one again. That's what I took from it.
About the same, but I guess I just didn't connect it to the cervical cancer thing, which is probably the most obvious. But I think if you're taking that away from the film, that's actually a better story than the film. Because
all my shortcomings kind of get negated by the fact that if it is just a metaphor, that it makes sense. Like I thought, there's no way Natalie Portman was ever in the army and could carry that big backpack. And it's like, no, well actually the backpack is a metaphor for baggage, and being in the army is probably a metaphor for it was 7 years ago, she's been grieving for 7 years or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I think if that's what you took away from it, then that is, probably more than was ever there. I mean, it maybe that is exactly what it's about. If so, then that makes it a 10 times better film than it purely being another alien invasion, contagion sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it was it was going into her psyche more than there being anything else, because there's no reason why any of it would have been there if it wasn't to do with her inner monologue. And the whole thing about that being at the end becoming her, I think that was her saying goodbye to her old self, coming back, transformation.
Yeah, I mean, because that's it basically. Again, it's another thing that you can tell that when her husband comes back at the start of the film or whatever it is, that something's wrong. I mean, obviously that is a complete allegory for, he's come back from war or whatever, he's traumatized and stuff like that. So basically I began thinking along those lines that it was all about trauma and getting over trauma and not being the same person, evolving as a person.
Yeah, because he starts splutting up blood and it's like, so that's him getting through the pain. And then
Well,
he
I mean,
pretty
there's-
much dies and then comes back again.
About 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So it is, it's about this sort of
So it's-
emotional rebirth. If
Yeah,
you
it's
wanna
all
call
yeah,
it
it's
that.
a rebirth tale.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that those characters they're all a part of her because if she did have the cervical cancer, then Dr. Venture's she's got cancer, she's dying, so she doesn't care about going into this dark place. You got the smart one, which is her, whatever job she does as a scientist.
Yeah.
The rational one, who that is. Then you got the angry one, so anger is a sign of coping.
Mm-hmm.
Who's I don't know why the bear comes in.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about
Bear
that one
about
exactly.
face, but
that's it. But that's why I started thinking about it as a standard sort of mortality tale as well, because obviously that's a huge part. Is that she's talking about how the cell is, this kind of perfect thing, but for our DNA, we have these limits, and whereas whatever you want to call it, the shimmer or the phenomenon, what that represents is the ability to get past that, to have this perfect, almost perfect,
I saw the shimmer as like she'd been repressing, dealing with it, and it was getting bigger and bigger to the point where she couldn't, so she had to go to the centre of it to finally break out of it.
Well, that's the whole point, isn't it? It's the whole confronting your troubles head on and stuff like
and
that.
annihilating them.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. There's so much to this film in that aspect that it's probably got about 1,001 interpretations, depending on who you are and what you want to take away from it.
That's why I've been quite interested to know what the plot of the book is, if that's the same.
Yeah. I mean, that would probably be far more interesting and obviously a lot more in depth. So you'd probably get a bit more from that.
And the reason I think that there might be all them schools is I think there's meant to be 3 school. Well, I don't know. This is my interpretation. Maybe 3 schools per family member, because each family member loses the other 2 people. So you get 3 schools, but there's only 3. Yeah, so there's.
So what you've got is there's 4 bodies and 10 skulls.
Was the 4 bodies? Was it? Okay, well that throws that figure out the door. But I think that there's some. Everything is a bit metaphorical. But yeah, I noticed it when she kept putting the bag down. I was like, she's leaving her baggage behind. I get it now. And then it goes on about acceptance, and I thought, okay, and they're going down the river, and there's they see. When they go to the what was the place where the mess hall is, they go to that building where the compound is, and they look on the wall and they see Kane's there. He's the only one that's not crossed off, but he's got another 3 members, same as she's got. So I thought, okay, so he's been here, and he's dealt with his problems. So she's going to the same place to do the same.
Yeah.
And then you see the video of him cutting that guy open, and that's kind of like a metaphor for, I don't know, maybe visually looking at the cancer in the womb. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
There's something. Yeah, he's basically
not everything.
No, but yeah, that's, I don't know. It's him dealing with what should be there, which isn't a baby.
Well, it's. I mean, if anything, it's literally looking inside, isn't it?
Yeah, and what's in there isn't what should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's like if
so looking inside and finding something other. Than
it's finding something horrible and alien, which is upsetting.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, and again, obviously, a lot of films are to do with this kind of thing. They're all to do directly with loss or something because of, let's say, an event like a miscarriage, abortion, or a death or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always coming to terms with a tragedy and then finding the way to progress through that. And again, usually with these ones, in terms of tragedy or trying to get over these emotional issues, that's when you find that you get films that are incredibly more, let's say, out there. They're not structured in the same way that your When Harry Met Sally kind of thing.
Yeah,
they tend to be, let's say, more creative or more fractured in terms of the story.
Not entertaining for the obvious reasons.
Yes.
But yeah, and again, one of my main problems in the first scenes was I was just bored of this relationship. Why does this keep being shoved down my throat? Why do we keep needing the scenes of them in the bed? And at the end, it's like, because that's kind of what it's about. That's kind of the point.
In a way, yeah, it's basically showing the happiness before the event and after the event.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that uplead was them making the baby and being really excited, and then afterwards it's them coming home and being distraught by not being able to continue.
Yeah, and when he basically says, "I need to go away now. I can't tell you where I'm going. I don't."
Yeah,
again,
I need to leave now.
Yeah.
I need to go now. Yeah.
Again, the one thing I couldn't figure out is if he was meant to have killed himself, or whether he'd just gone through the grief separately and now they're back together again.
Yeah.
I assume it's the latter, because she's, and as well, Dr. Ventress is meant to be a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So I assume it's someone that they would have actually visited, talk
Together,
about,
yeah.
and every time she asks her about him, they get interrupted. So that's like a patient-doctor confidentiality thing. She can't actually breach that information.
She can't say.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but again, I think it just got to the point where what I was putting into the film was making it more interesting than the film actually was, which isn't too bad. Like, I mean, that's not. Sometimes it's good for a film to do that, to not hold your hand and say this is exactly what you should be thinking, and that take the film at purely face value. If there's something underneath the surface there that we can work through and talk about, and try and plumb the depths of it together, then that is a worthwhile film. There's something to it more than what just meets the eye.
I think my main problem with it is that, okay, it's a cool idea to have all that story underlining and build the whole plot and set dressing based on metaphor.
Yeah, but there's no real resolution.
Yeah, I mean, what happened could have been more engaging though, because you can have the metaphor there, but you still need to show me something that's a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of it, it kind of built back in some of that, but I just,
Again, it's not a film I would have continued watching if I didn't have to.
It took a lot of goodwill to see the good in it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm trying to be as generous as I can.
I mean, I'm glad I stayed with it, and like I said, when we got to a certain point near the beginning, I wrote down that, I'm quite intrigued. I'm
starting to get into
I'm intrigued, but I'm not gripped.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the feeling for the whole film.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is one that's been shared by my mum, because at that point when I was halfway through it, she was like, "I can't be arsed. I've turned it off. I can't
Oh, really?
through it." And she said to me today, "Did you watch the rest of it?" And I've had to say to her, "Yes," but I think the most interesting bit, or at least visually the most interesting bit, is at the end of the film. It's the nicest looking or the most interesting. So it's kind of like, if you're watching this film and you're 10 minutes in, just give up if you don't like it. But if you've put in half an hour or more in change, just stick it out just to see the visuals, just skip to the end.
And also,
it's nice.
Well, if you're listening to this anyway, you know the ending.
You've seen the whole film.
You might want to watch it with the insight of what we've spoke about, and you might watch it a bit differently. I don't know. Would I want to watch it again just to see if my theory's right? Probably not. I'd rather read the book, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't want to sit through that again. Not that I was in any way, like, I wasn't tearing my hair out. I just wasn't fussed. I wasn't bothered, I don't think I hated it more than anything I've ever seen.
I'll tell you what, I was misled by the trailer.
Yeah.
Which, again, seems to be a staple of Netflix movies, like Mute. That made it seem like a really good neo-noir action movie, and it turned out to be a terrible old bore fest.
Yes.
But, yeah.
God, that was incredibly polite of you.
Yeah.
I gotta think of a few more choices.
What I describe as Only God Forgives syndrome, which I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I can't remember.
It's got Ryan Gosling in it, so I don't think you would have seen it.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so basically the trailer makes it seem like an action, almost kind of dresses it up a little bit to be almost like a kung fu movie.
Right.
But really it's him, Nicholas Lyndhursting his way around Thailand in a suit. Just walking into rooms and looking concerned, and then occasionally the music goes bomb. I won't not recommend it. It's weird, isn't it? I wanted it. It could be better, but it's not terrible.
No, I mean, again, I might be 4 for 3, but I don't know. I'm not too heavily split. But again, the positives aren't that great. Because I've gone basically, it just looked nice. Again, which is not the overarching thing, because to me Avatar looked nice, but it was a 4-hour waste of time.
I always thought that film looked a bit dated.
Well, no, it looked dated when it came out, but what I'm saying is all that film had was its visuals. The story was horseshit.
But my main positive was all the things I found out at the end and interpreted about the film. I had I had a lot of negatives, like it was too dark. Some like I was talking about her looking down the stethoscope. It doesn't really matter because it probably didn't really happen in my interpretation. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's what you're taking away from it, not what the film actually is.
And actually, my biggest complaint is that Oscar Isaac was a bit wasted because he's a really good actor. I mean, he was only in it a little bit. I mean, I suppose he's busy. He's a busy man. And like you said, it was predominantly a female
Not
cast.
long enough Wong in it for me.
Not enough Benedict.
No. And again, Jennifer Jason Leigh's part was a little bit... It was good, but a little bit stilted.
I think
she always seemed like she was half cut. She always seemed a bit drunk, didn't she?
Yeah, she had that kind of, I haven't slept in 4 days.
Yeah, which is probably fair.
Been up all night having porn star martinis.
But again, all I could really take away from it, so my positive was that it looked nice. Because obviously the just little bits of set dressing and whatnot. But what I did like was that it was a little... Okay, if we're saying there's no pretext in there and what you're reading into it, it was a slightly original take on the Invaders from Another Planet Contagion films, like Body Snatchers and that. It wasn't all mania, it wasn't bursting pustules on the face and gross out. It was a little bit different. It was kind of a nice, pretty version of that, which I feel a bit bad saying because I'm like, oh, it's a female cast. I don't mean, pretty.
I know what you mean.
But visually enticing. It was nice to look at.
Thinking about it, because it had such a small cast and the sets it could easily be done as a stage play.
Oh, yeah.
It'd really work as a stage play.
That'd probably be awesome as a stage play,
Yeah.
actually. But yeah, I mean, although it was nice to look at, and it was nice to see again a more predominantly female cast-based film. And there were some decent performances. I am not a Portman fan.
No, I was
I've
saying,
never been a Portman fan. She was all right.
I was talking to my sister about this. Like, I don't think she's bad. Some actors and actresses you just don't warm to. But
I think it's part. But for me, I always get shot down on this because I say things like I don't really like Leonardo DiCaprio or Tom Hanks, and everyone jumps on your case. I'm like, but this is a. I'm not making a huge blanket statement here. I'm going film for film. There's only really 3 films I've ever seen Tom Hanks in that I liked him in, and yeah, they were probably comedies.
The Burbs.
I've never seen The
Burbs.
Burbs.
Is brilliant. You have to watch The Burbs.
I'll try.
No, it's good.
But basically, like Big,
yeah.
Dragnet, which he was in with Dan Aykroyd, which is a comedy, a police one.
Never actually seen Dragnet.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I really like it. And he did one called A Bonfire of the Vanities.
Oh yeah.
Those 3 films were fantastic, and I've seen Shaving Ryan's Privates and Catch Me If You Can't, or all these other bits of crap he was in. And he was in that one with Leonardo DiCaprio, so Twicely, I was not going to like that. Twicely, yeah. That's a new one I've thrown in. But this is based on me sitting through it and watching it and really trying, and hating him. So I'm not saying it because everyone loves him and it's...
You don't hate him as a person, you just don't...
Oh, no, I'd love to shake... Oh, I wouldn't shake it. I wouldn't love to shake his hand. I wouldn't mind going for a beer with him. I'm sure he's a lovely lad. But I don't enjoy watching him on screen.
Yes,
he's very wooden. He's the same person in every film to me. Some actors are just themselves.
Yes.
This is Brad Pitt in a film. It is, it comes to a point where
I think we've
you
all got
can't
them
not see
actors.
him. Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I don't hate Tom Cruise, but every time he's in a film,
it's Tom Cruise.
I know it's Tom Cruise. And it's
Apart
not
from Tropic Thunder.
Yes, exactly.
That
But
was the one time.
that's the one time. But like when he turns up, it's like, okay, I like Tom Cruise. He's fine, perfectly fine. But every time he turns up, it's like, this is a Tom Cruise movie now. I know exactly what his character's going to be. I know it's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. It's going to be Independence Day, Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be what was the one with Mary Poppins in it? She's a new Mary Poppins, Emily Blunt. Edge of Tomorrow. That was really good.
Hold on, there's a new Mary Poppins?
Emily Blunt's Mary Poppins.
Oh, fuck me. I just saw a trailer, not a trailer, but a picture saying there's going to be another Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
I know they're bringing back. There's a new Winnie the Pooh movie.
Oh yeah, that's out.
Called Christopher Robin. With Ewan McGregor.
I mean, I might.
He's not Winnie the Pooh.
No, he's not Winnie the Pooh. I mean, I'm probably tempted to watch Winnie, but again, with all these rehashes of Disney films, like Jesus Christ, just stop doing it. I mean, I know...
I don't know why you need the live action version of a cartoon. The whole magic of it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
I've noticed Jungle Books on Netflix. I don't want to watch that because half of it's
piece of shit. Yeah.
half of it's animated anyway. All you've done is got a
CG animated. It's just a different kind.
You just got a real boy.
The only reason I watched that again was because you've got people like Willem Dafoe or whoever in it. You had some good voice acting.
The only
it
one
might have been Christopher Walken. I can't remember. But
no,
I'm an orangutan. Give me fire.
My name's Baloo.
I'll Baloo you.
The only one I was interested in seeing, I think Guillermo del Toro was going to do Pinocchio.
Now that would be cool because he'd make it dark.
Yeah.
He would make a different film. Whereas anybody else does it, they just make a scene for scene rehash of
it
the
might
old
not be
crap.
Guillermo, but I'm pretty sure it's one of those kind of...
No, but I'll watch anything that he does because again, he's an incredibly original director, writer or whatever.
He's an auteur.
Yeah, but that's why sorry to go back to this one. I thought that generally, even though again I'm not a massive Portman fan, I think the only decent thing I've ever seen her in was Leon.
She was good in Black Swan, but I don't know. I don't find her a bad actress.
Didn't watch that. But again, for me, she's... I don't know. Because in things like, let's say, Thor or Garden State or whatever other little bit parts, again, for me, it's another... Oh, it's Natalie Portman. And like V for Vendetta. Again, I really enjoy the film, but her performance in it... to me, she's just like a useless little kid. I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I know it doesn't sound like...
Not in Leon, she wasn't.
Not in Leon, she was a useful little kid. Yeah. But that's what I mean. To me, Leon was the most grown-up she has been as an actress. She was the most grown into her character, adult performance. Everyone she's done since then seems to be, she's got cute baby voice, sort of bullshit.
Stereotypical role.
She's meant to be the
which is never
cute girl next door kind of thing. For me, this was slightly more of a breakaway for her.
Yeah, she was doing
so I liked
being
it
a
more.
proper. Yeah, I think mainly you've got a problem with the characters that she plays.
All right, let's go. Come on.
Novalee Nation thought they were leaving home for a better life.
Oh, what the hell's the matter with you?
Walmart, I can go to the bathroom.
I'm waiting right here.
But she's about to discover if you're gonna wind up broke and abandoned, there are worse places to stay than this.
So again, saying that, as much as an unfan of Portman as I am, she was good in it.
She was fine.
There was nothing wrong with that at all, and I think everyone was pretty good in it. And I really liked that it was slightly contrived in terms of the formula it follows, but the ending for the film is slightly less, not exactly what I'd expected. So for the reveal of they're both alien or whatever it is, that happens a lot in films, but that was something a little bit off the beaten for me. I was a bit more like, okay, it's slightly more original in its whole aliens, body snatchers kind of, whatever this contagion is that's going to take over the world. It was slightly more original, being that it was predominantly more female. It was a little bit more refreshing. It wasn't the same film I've seen 1,000 times, but it was pretty damn close.
I quite like as well that, because I thought it was going to be like a big budget blockbuster when I saw the trailer. Yeah. And it turned out to be pretty much more like an indie movie.
Yes.
I quite like that she went forward to do a smaller movie.
Well, the thing is,
they're always the better films for the biggest actors.
This is why I'm chomping at the bit to see more Netflix films, because that's what I see, is that the movies are predominantly more creative, better storylines and whatnot. And again, the visuals don't, or the budget don't really enter into it. It just is what it is. It's basically, we wanted to tell this story, and we got the ability to do so. So here you go.
Yep.
But again, what you can get is everyone jumps on the bandwagon. Everyone tries to put as much content out there as possible, and it's not always a hit. So there is some awful shit on Netflix I've seen. But again,
Howard the Duck was on there for a while.
I remember that crap. I remember seeing that years ago.
Tim Robbins, man.
Tim Robbins is in it, and what was her name? It's I can never remember the actress's name, but she was Caroline in the City.
Oh, okay.
Which was a terrible 90s TV show. But yeah, I mean, it was just different enough to be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think things that you take away from it are probably more interesting than the film actually was.
That's
what you've said about the cancer or
yeah, about it being a metaphor for her going through grief, basically, the whole film.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that wasn't something I immediately took away in terms of it was localised to her. You know, I was more like, okay, that's the focus of the film in general is grief or whatever. It's this self-destructive nature versus the need to carry on and survive. Because that's what I took away, is that they keep harping on about this immortalness or this godlike nature of the cell and how this new thing could potentially do that. So it was kind of like, are people wanting to prolong their own lives and do this, or like the Josie character, they're willing to give in to the natural order.
Yeah.
They're willing to let go. They want to move on. They don't want to fight. So for me, that's what I took away was this whole aspect of nature. And that being a dominating force.
Well, I kind of thought of it as it's nature to go through the grieving process, and again, eventually, this little thing that she's putting off is going to grow to a point where it's going to encompass everything. So you just can't ignore it anymore. So you might as well face it now.
Yeah, and I don't know.
But I guess whatever you take from a film, that's what you take from it, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, is that everything is completely subjective, which is why I try never to trash on stuff too much. I do have a problem with that, because I get really passionate about stuff. But for ones like this, I've tried to be as even-handed as I can in it, because I could come down really hard on it in places. Because there's certain things that, again, were started, but never were finished in terms of, like you say, they've got this whole time dilation thing. Where did they lose 4 days? That's never explained. There's a cut between, okay, we've lost 4 days, but you can remember everything that happened after that.
Yeah,
so she knows exactly what happened after they got to the place and then got attacked by the bear and went to the lighthouse and did it. How come she doesn't come out and go, I don't remember?
Even going through my theory, I don't really understand that. Maybe it's like it took 4 days of dwelling to finally get to a place. I don't know, maybe the whole film she's meant to be talking to a psychiatrist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it would have just been a little bit better to have some slight clarification on other areas. Again, like as a whole, it wasn't bad. Would I watch it again? Probably not.
I don't think I'll watch it again. I'd be interested to read the books though, or at least a synopsis or an audiobook to know what the plot is and to confirm my own ideas.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be the only time. If I read the books, I might want to give it a second watch just to reconfirm my suspicions of it or whatever. But I would recommend for the visuals. Visually, it's a really nice film. It's really quite creative in some of the scenes.
There's a lot worse brand new films you could probably watch, and it's 2 hours long. Then it's gone.
Yeah, it's better than Justice League.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
that has been my go-to. Every crap film I've seen this year, I've gone, well, that was better than Justice League.
Better than Justice League.
So that's pretty low on the pile at the minute, unfortunately.
Well, after a lot of ranting, that was that's Annihilation. A wavering recommendation, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's 2 thumbs sideways. Yeah,
like a motorbike.
Yeah,
one motorbike out of a squadron.
Out of a possible car. I don't know. Yeah.
What would that one be? That the 2 thumbs up would be that's skis.
Skis.
It's
All right. So we're firmly riding a motorbike.
And thumbs down is pouring bottles of wine down the sink.
Oh.
That's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll stick with the motorbike because that's cool, but it's dangerous because you might hurt yourself.
Yeah, so you might like it, you might not.
Might like it.
But have a go to find out.
Skis are always exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Especially leave them on the stairs.
Yes, indeed.
That was a fun week. Anyway, yeah.
So, yeah. Actually, yeah, in all, quite a depressing movie as well.
Yeah,
like, really depressing.
I didn't leave it feeling carefree.
No. So I think... so next time we need something a bit more upbeat. So we watch Angel Heart then.
Yeah. I'm on for Angel Heart.
Yeah, I think now we got a little bit derailed.
I'm looking for... We're doing good film, bad film, good film, bad film.
Okay, but we can't really decide that without...
No, we don't know, but that's how it's coming out.
Okay, yeah. So I think
I'm determined to like the next one.
Okay. I haven't watched Angel Heart.
Well, actually, no, I'm not determined to. I just think I will.
Yeah. Well, it's got the Rourkester in it for it.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke. That's why I want to see it. And again, this is all dependent on when you were born, what sort of style of movies you like. But I guess the 80s fucking dark detective movies are the ones I like.
It is film noir through and through. It is like one of the most ultimate modern-ish personifications of film noir. And it's got a scene with a boiled egg.
Ooh.
You'll
Oh
be-
yeah, and De Niro. Yeah.
You'll be happy.
I can't wait because I'm still replaying the Black Rain theme tune in my head all the time.
That's how they do the lyrics. You drive the motorcycle.
Okay, it sounded different to me.
His name is Michael Douglas. It's a film noir.
Oh Jesus Christ! Well, I
Black
think
Rain.
that's probably a good a time as any.
Yeah.
To say goodbye.
Yeah. Ta-ra.
Ta-ra a bit.